The Western Conference Finals are tied at 1 game apiece as the action shifts to the Emerald City of Seattle for Game 3. As tonight from the Seattle Coliseum, it's the SuperSonics and Phoenix Suns, 2 of the NBA's Final Fours. Hi, everybody. I'm Gary Bender. I tell you, the Sonics were able to steal one in Phoenix. A huge win for them. They've taken the Phoenix Suns' home court advantage away and come to a place they love to play. As George Karl put it, we love the intensity, we love the heat here at the Seattle Coliseum. Working with me is Doug Collins. And Doug, with all that said, you have taken consideration the Suns have been a very good road team. They've already won 3 games on the road away from home.
Gary, they've been the best road team all season long. And let's not forget the Lakers series where they're down 0-2. They had to win 2 in LA to get back to Phoenix. They won the deciding Game 6 in San Antonio. So this is a well-traveled road team. They should play well here tonight.
You know, interestingly enough, when Seattle goes on the road, they look for a go-to guy. But when they come home, they win by committee.
Well, this is a very young team, and when you look at the numbers, you're going to see how much better they are at home. They're 6-1 as opposed to 2-5. 12 more points a game here, 7 more free throws, 4 less turnovers. Their opponents shoot 6% less from the field. So those are all aggressive-oriented statistics. They love to swarm the ball here.
Sir Charles, the NBA's MVP, he's got to step forward.
Well, that's the reason they got him. In moments like this, they've lost the home court. It's important for Charles Barkley to come out tonight and have the same kind of game and impact that Ricky Pierce had the other night when they came in, and he was able to hit 34 points and bring the home court back to Seattle.
Okay, the Suns did not win here in the regular season. They were 0-2, and so we're all set. The Sonics and Suns, game number 3. Coming up at Seattle Coliseum, the Sonics have won 5 straight at home. They are 6-1 overall at home in the playoffs. And here's the Jeep Eagles starting matchup and Richard Dumas, his first start in the series.
Well, Gary, a big adjustment there because Cedric Ceballos had the big game, 21 points in 23 minutes, but his foot is still bothering where he has a stress reaction. So he is not 100% healthy. They're going to go with Dumas tonight rather than Ceballos. And also Seattle will match up Kemp against Barkley. They started out Perkins on Barkley. They feel more comfortable with Shawn Kemp playing at home rather than on the road.
Well, you mentioned at home, Paul Westphal's team has played so well at home, but now they come on the road seeking their 4th win in the playoffs. They're 3-2. They won 2 in LA and 1 in San Antonio to get to this point. And George Karl could not be happier to be back in the Coliseum. He could not talk about the intensity, the different attitude that his team has, the fact that it gets so hot. And I see you're taking your coat off right now, Doug. And it is hot in here, and it will get warmer as this game unfolds.
Well, this is a swarming Seattle team. They like to scramble the game. They like to make it a disjointed game. They want to take you out of your offense, make you make individual plays. I think a real key tonight for Phoenix is that Kevin Johnson has been too passive in the double teams. And if you listen to Hubie Brown talk in the studio before the game, he must do something with a quick hitting play where he gets rid of the ball and tries to get it back out of the double teams and creates, because he is really the little engine that runs this team.
Ed T. Rush, Dick Pavetta, and Ron Garrettson, the 3 officials. Pavetta will put the ball up between West and Shawn Kemp. And West gets a tip off to Charles Barkley. Marley had that 29-point game on Wednesday to Kevin Johnson. I would think that's getting him started in a hurry.
I think that's very smart. In the first 2 series, he averaged 13 field goal attempts a game. These two games, only 9. Numbers are down from 19 to 14 points and from 9 assists to 5. He must get actively involved tonight.
Stan Perkins with those big 2 threes down the stretch. Follow tip by Kemp, rebounded by McKee. Perkins again will try it. He is 6 of 11 in the series prior to those 2 misses from 3-point land.
Now you want to see why they score more at home.
They are active, aren't they? They're flying around.
You've already seen 4 offensive rebounds. That's going to be an offensive foul on McKee.
Well, they had 17 offensive rebounds Wednesday. 17-10, they led the Suns in that department, and they have started out with a flourish here.
They're very aggressive on the offensive boards. Normally they score off offensive rebounds and points off turnovers where they get their steals and their traps. You see Kemp up the floor right now with the double team on KJ.
This team led the NBA in steals in the regular season, 944, almost 12 a game. Now, you've talked a lot about how they could get Kevin Johnson away from some of this trapping? A lot of it's who trails him after the inbound the ball.
Yeah, we'll have to see who's bringing the ball up the floor, who's inbounding the ball, because Kemp is just waiting at half court to double team because their center has been inbounding the basketball.
Barkley from outside, and Barkley, who's been shooting 46% in the playoffs as opposed to his regular season of 52, gets the Suns on the scoreboard. Here's McKee, who didn't score till late in the game on Wednesday. He is fouled by Kevin Johnson.
McKee has come out and been very aggressive, both on the offensive boards. They set up a screen roll for him to take the ball to the basket. McKee 1 for 7 in game 2, and they need production out of him. They need 14 to 15 points because that inspires him defensively. He's one of those guys that's very quiet, and if you get him involved in the game early, it tends to carry over for the entire ball game.
Well, he had 17 points in game 1. That's a playoff high for him at 8 rebounds. Then he came back and had only 3 points and 3 rebounds on Wednesday night. Didn't score till late, but he did get a big offensive rebound.
Well, if you think about it, McKee was 1 for 7 and Perkins 5 for 18, so 2 of their starting forwards were 6 for 25.
4-2, and the pressure pays off again. Gary Payton from outside. Rebound, Barkley, and boy, he brings that one down with some authority. Oh, Charles making a statement there. Kevin using the pick now by Marley. Marley had that brilliant performance, 29 points, a career playoff high for him. Out to Kevin. Good ball movement to Dumas. And Dumas, who's played only 13 minutes in the first 2 games, hits his first shot of the night.
Well, I think George Karl is a little bit afraid of this matchup with Dumas. More explosive offensively from the perimeter than is Sabalas. Sabalas more on the open floor, snaking around the baskets. Dumas has a jump shot. I think that worries him.
Seattle is 0 for 4 shooting thus far. Nice feed inside to West, partially blocked. And the breakout is Payton, and Barkley almost got there.
See, no one rotated back, Gary. Kevin Johnson penetrated, and Marley stayed deep. He's the other guard. He's got to get back. Payton just released, and you're going to see the Sonics do that a lot.
Baseline to Marley, misses an easy one. West tries to keep it alive. Out it comes to Derek McKee. That was a fine pass from Barkley. Boy, you can just see the intensity, the difference in this Seattle team at home. They are just flying around out there. Kemp comes down to another offensive board.
That's about 3 offensive rebounds for him already.
Perkins, that's where the big shot came from Wednesday night, but he misses there. Kevin Johnson on the move all the way. Got it.
You got to love that play, though, if you're Phoenix. KJ takes it right to the basket. That's 2 quick field goals. Barkley has a score. So the 2 big guns with 6 quick points for Phoenix.
Suns now with an 8-4 lead, just underway in the first quarter. This is game 3. It's all even at 1. Game 4 coming Sunday. McKee driving in, doesn't have a place to go. He ran into West. Down it comes to Marley. Barkley comes up with it. Here is Dumas. Dumas has only missed 1 shot thus far in the playoffs. He's 2 for 2 tonight.
See, that's the concern. See, Cedric Sabalas is not a good outside shooter, but he's a slasher, a cutter. The guy can score on the fast break. Dumas will pull up and make that shot. Then when you come out to play him, he can put it on the floor and create. So double trouble tonight for Seattle.
5 of 7 now for the Suns for the field. 10-4 lead. And Pierce, he thought he was fouled. Ricky Pierce, who was 13 of 20 from the field for 34 points on Wednesday. Kevin all the way. Kemp tries to stop him. And Kevin got hit in the nose that time as he's now shaken a little bit, but he will be all right as he fouled inside by Sean Kemp. That is his first foul.
Kevin Johnson's going to be shooting 2 free throws, and he's very upset at himself out in game 2, and he missed 5 free throws in the ball game. Phoenix missed 15. They were 26 for 41. He and Marley missed 9 free throws combined. So for KJ, he needs to get himself here squared away at the line, make a couple free throws. Gary, his tendency all season long has been to have 1 or 2 games where he has bad games at the line, and then he goes long stretches where he shoots an 85%. So he needs to get himself on track right now.
They missed 15 free throws on Wednesday, shooting 63.4%, and Kevin was 6 of 11. He gets the first one.
See, the thing I like about it is, though, he's been very aggressive. In Phoenix, anytime someone showed up into a false double team, he quickly gave the ball up. Tonight, he's keeping his dribble and keeping the pressure on the Sonic defense.
It's interesting, a team coming on the road to start this well. You would think Seattle would have come out with a rush. Got maybe the early advantage, but it's been Phoenix thus far. Pierce trying to duck inside, has a strip, and then a foul will be on Marley. Dan Marley reaching in, and Marley, who played all 48 minutes in the game Wednesday, scoring those 29 points with 10 rebounds. His shooting has really picked up.
Ricky Pierce the other night had a sensational game, and he made some big plays for them, and that's why you want that kind of veteran player. This guy has been in the playoffs throughout his career, and he's a guy that knows what he can do from night to night on the floor. You give him a little bump screen and let him get to that 17, 18-foot mark, he's going to make most of the shots or get to the free throw line, and we know he's a 90% free throw shooter.
He's automatic. He was 6th in the NBA this year, shooting 89%. He's been at 88% of the playoffs. One time he had 75 in a row last season. 12-8 the Suns.
There's the full court pressure defense. They've got Barkley back. Now I like this because Charles now is going to have a chance to isolate, and now they're going to get it to KJ. This changes the defensive trapping of Seattle.
Barkley thought he was fouled. Payton on the breakout to McKee, blocked by Mark West. Kemp is there. Kemp will try to take it up. A block twice, and McKee then follows with a tip. I'll tell you, Sean Kemp had some tenacity on that play. Back it comes to Barkley. Barkley ducks in. Partially blocked. I think McKee got a piece of it, and we're going to have a foul. Good recovery by the Suns. Foul will go on to Sean Kemp, and that will be his second.
His first.
Charles Barkley in the lane with a little jump step. He misses the shot. The ball is going to be kicked loose, and there's Dumas with the great hands. You see the athletic ability hanging in the air to draw the foul. So Richard Dumas, 4 quick points, has a chance now to get his 5th and 6th of the game.
Dumas shooting 79% in the playoffs, which is better than his seasonal average of 71%. Dumas had some outstanding games in the first round against the Lakers, but he had a playoff high 22 points in the second round against San Antonio. 13-10, Suns by 3. Pierce having a tough time getting away from Dumas. Good effort by Dumas. It'll be off of the Suns. 9 seconds on the shot clock. One of the reasons they weren't playing Dumas is some of the matchup problems they were having defensively.
Well, I think you have to be very careful in a situation that you don't take out one of your better players due to matchups. Force teams to match up to you.
McKee over West. Pierce again. Boy, it is tough under the boards, and it's going to be off of Charles Barkley. Seattle now is 3 of 15 shooting-wise.
They have been tremendously aggressive on the offensive boards. They have not been able to cash in, but Phoenix must do a better job on the boards because this will take its toll. You expect them to start making some of these shots.
Suns with the early advantage, 13-10 with 7:01 to go in the first quarter of this ball game. Look at the shooting for the Sonics, and look at the offensive rebounds. They keep putting them back, but they just won't go in.
Well, this is going to give you multiple shot opportunities, and as the game goes on, and as you calm yourself down, right now, remember we talked about this Seattle team being a very aggressive, energetic, young team, and right now they're playing so hard that they're a little bit out of sync. So if they continue to get that kind of opportunities, they're going to start cashing in on them. So Phoenix must get to the defensive backboard. Look for the rebounding to improve when they put Oliver Miller in the game as this game moves on later in the first period.
McKee will inbound. They have 24 seconds on the shot clock. Gets it into Perkins. West has to respect his range as he comes out. Here's running Marley through a lot of traffic. Out it comes to Perkins. 15 seconds on the shot clock. Kemp in midair, and they have a blocking foul on Mark West. They've had a couple of collisions earlier. There was no whistle. This time Mark West picks up the foul.
You could see Sean Kemp. He was going to dunk this basketball. He was going to take off from outside the lane, and then here comes Mark West moving underneath him. So Sean Kemp now to the free throw line, and this young man had 6 straight free throws at the end of game 2 that were very, very important. He was 5 for 5 from the field with 7 blocked shots. So he had a very, I guess you could say, quiet game for most of the night, and then exploded at the end when they really needed it.
He's had 16 points in each of the first 2 games. You forget, this guy came into the NBA at the age of 19. He's only 23 now.
One of the things about when Seattle gets to the free throw line, Oliver Miller checking in, Mark West out, so I think the rebounding will pick up right now. But when Seattle shoots free throws, it allows them to set up their full court pressure defense. So the more times they get to the line, the more opportunities they're going to have to extend their defense, which will improve as the game goes on, and you lose some of this emotion, and then it gets into execution.
So Kemp picks up where he left off on Wednesday night when he hit those 6 in a row, and now Michael Cage will replace Kemp.
I think Sean Kemp is bleeding. Either he's got blood on his jersey or he's bleeding, so he will have to come out of the game. Michael Cage will be in now, so we'll see if Sean Kemp has to change uniforms or exactly what's going to happen, but he'll be back in soon.
Looks like his elbow was cut. Doug, as you look over there, here's Kevin driving past the double team. Barkley from the corner. There's the ability of Kevin to distribute the ball, create things. The first game he penetrated well. They cut off that penetration in game 2. Marley trying to stay with Pierce. Pierce had that big game Wednesday, the fall away by Ricky. Tipped out. And it's going to be Phoenix's basketball.
Well, you can really see, though, when the shot goes up, 5 Seattle guys are going to the board. If Phoenix can rebound it, they'll be able to get some fast break opportunities. The Sonics are making such a conscious effort to get to the boards.
When the Suns out-rebounded their opponents in the regular season, they were 43-4. They'll have a tough time doing that tonight. Oliver Miller changes his shot. Cage with a rebound.
He was not ready for the pass from Barkley. Barkley surprised him.
Perkins, who's been shooting better, believe it or not, from 3-point range than at 2-point range. He's 2 of 18 in the series inside the arc.
Well, one of the reasons because Oliver Miller has the same arm reach, and he's blocked about 8 of them.
How about Michael Cage? He's not known for his outside shooting as he hits that one. 1-point lead now for Phoenix.
So here's the double team. You've got McKee waiting at half court. KJ, once he gives it up, must work to get it back.
Perkins with those long arms with the steal. Out it comes to Payton. Payton, who plays so much better at home than he does on the road. McKee follows. There's those offensive rebounds again. The Suns are just getting swallowed up as their defensive rebounding is not there. And here's Barkley with the steal. He's in trouble, and he's fouled in midair by Ricky Pierce.
That's 9 offensive rebounds now for Seattle. We played less than 7 minutes in the game. They average 16 offensive rebounds a game. You see George Karl, he likes all the effort. He just would like to see them convert some of these great opportunities that they are getting.
What did he tell us? He loves the heat and intensity because it caters to his depth. But the Suns have good depth as well. Those offensive rebounds, 9 of them. Thus far, Seattle's converted only 2. Marty Aronoff, our statistician. Good ball movement now by the Suns. Barkley from outside. They're spacing well, aren't they, Doug? They're really moving the ball around.
Yes, they are. And what they're doing is they're making the extra pass. They're not taking the shot after the first pass. They're swinging and they're catching Seattle on their rotations.
Pierce again running Marley through the picket line. Here's Barkley on the steal and a foul on Payton. Pierce is really giving Marley fits, but Marley, so bulldog type, has stayed with him. And now Barkley having a little discussion with the fans in the corner.
This was a great steal by Charles Barkley. He read the passing lane, stepped out nicely, got his hand in. The ball was loose, and you see the quickness and strength of Barkley just been able to rip it away and get the foul on Gary Payton. They double team Charles. We have not seen him in the post yet tonight. Let's see if the double teams are going to come. They're playing him straight up with Cage right now.
One of the few times they've been sitting like this, which has been a problem for the Suns. 9 seconds on the shot clock. Tries a 3. Marley comes up with it. Oliver Miller will bring it back out. 4:17 to go in the first quarter. Marley to the hole. Tough shot. Barkley follows once. Look at Barkley chase it down.
Oh, a great play by Charles Barkley. This is a ferocious first quarter. Gary, this is as intense as I've seen the Western Conference play in the whole playoffs.
And Perkins eventually on the deflected shots got it. 3-on-1. Payton. It's a 1-point game. Dumas gets McKee in the air. Pass to Miller. Might have been too close to him. And coming up with it is Oliver Miller. Miller, quite unquestionably the most surprising player in the playoffs. Good second effort. Dumas again. Good anticipation.
Oh, great play by KJ. Gary Payton was going to give a foul, and before he could get there, KJ gave it right back to Dumas for the dunk. That was a sensational play by both Dumas and KJ. Dumas is winded. He wants a little bit of a rest right now.
Dumas led all rookies in steals this year. There is Payton with a second effort. And Sabalas will be coming in at the first break of the action for Dumas. 21-18, the Suns. This has been furious.
Yes, it has.
Inside 3 minutes to go, first quarter. You can see why Dumas would be a little winded. Barkley draws the foul. And here comes Cedric Sabalas. Also, Nate McMillan will check in for the Sonics. It's been a flurry of activity here in Game 3. The Suns with a 3-point lead.
Suns lead 21-18, 2:52, and it's been a furious game. But the thing I like, Richard Dumas gets the steal. He gets it to KJ and lets the point guard make the play. Gary Payton, at this point in time, he's stubborn, is going to try to make the foul here, but KJ gets it back quickly before he can do it, and it's 2 points for the Suns. That was an excellent play, and Richard Dumas running the floor nicely after the steal. He's gotten off to a great start. Sabalas now in, giving him a rest.
You know, Doug, in talking to George Karl, one of the concerns he had was the court speed of Phoenix. You saw just a moment ago how quick they are.
Phoenix has a speed team. When you look at Seattle, they have a long, big team that gets big on the boards, but if you can run them, you can get some easy scores. They're not a great transition defensive team, and I think Phoenix's game plan tonight is we've got to get out and run and get some open court scores, and they've done a good job of that here early.
Barkley getting the bounce there, 22-18.
The thing I like is Kevin Johnson already has 4 assists. He's averaging 5 assists the first 2 games. He's got 6 points, so he's been so aggressive. He is not letting the double team take him out of his game so easily.
It took him 39 minutes to get those 4 assists Wednesday. Seattle shooting 27% from the field. Phoenix 53. As we go to the 2:40 mark now this first quarter. John Kemp goes around Miller. They're going to wave the basket off. Ron Garrison said the foul is before the basket. Miller saying he was hooked offensively. But they're going to have a foul on Oliver Miller, and they'll inbound on the near side.
Oliver Miller thought he turned the ball over right there. He said he crossed it over and turned it over. So the quickness of Kemp isolating against Miller.
Baseline to Kemp. Kemp very active coming in after that scratch on the elbow. Miller with another block. He had 8 blocks in this series prior to tonight.
Sean Kemp's got to learn. You just can't expose the ball like that. Again, KJ with another strong drive, but Oliver Miller, I guess, is going to have to block about 8 more shots before Seattle realizes this guy is for real.
41 blocks in 13 games, and really in the first 2 playoff games he didn't play.
That's exactly right.
Kevin Johnson penetrating, going back to what he was successful in Game 1 against Seattle. Nate McMillan. Oh, a pass. Nice catch by Michael Cage.
That's what penetration will do. When you get inside the lane, it draws weak side defenders. It compromises your entire defense. So penetration and offensive rebounds really have hurt Phoenix in this first quarter.
John Kemp fronting Charles Barkley, so Kevin takes it inside. Sabalas to the hole, and he's fouled. Again, he's making some things happen by getting inside with the basketball. Substitution now. Eddie Johnson will come in for the Sonics. That foul on Kemp, by the way, is his second. Going out will be Gary Payton, and Johnson has not been shooting well for Seattle. Coming in and hoping to get that all straightened out at home.
Cedric Sabalas at the line, a 63% free throw shooter here in the playoffs.
Boy, he was here early today, though, about an hour and a half before the game. He was out here by himself. I asked him about his foot, which he has a stress reaction in. Says it's all right until he gets it kicked. And then all he can do is put some ice on it.
Yeah, it's a very difficult thing. He's very fortunate that the type of injury he has, Gary, you can actually break that bone all the way through. It's a stress fracture, and if you put too much pressure on it just the right way, the bone can break completely. So he's hoping he can get through before he has major problems, then rest in the offseason, possibly surgery.
Eddie Johnson will be tracked by Sabalas. Nice cutter inside. Pierce, he has fouled. The basket will count. Ricky Pierce, who has led the Sonics in scoring the last 2 years, 33 years old, with that outstanding game, Game 2, and off very effectively in this ball game. Second foul on Miller.
Gary, I want to show you something. Ricky Pierce is one of the best curlers in the game, and what I mean by that is he loves to get down in low stacks and work off a center, and he curls. What you must do is whoever's playing the big guy must step up and bump him. Oliver Miller did not. So what they're doing is Seattle is involving Oliver Miller in screen roll and in any situation where he has to help out because he's laying back, thinking more on blocking shots than preventing the action from occurring. It's gotten him in trouble in this series, especially game 2. Pierce had a big game using him in the screen roll.
Well, the second foul means he's got to sit down, and Tom Chambers, who's really been struggling, comes into the ball game. Chambers is 2 of 11 in this series. He scored only 5 points. Beautiful pass baseline to Sabalos from Kevin Johnson.
Sabalos might be the best in the league on the baseline, hanging around back there and just sneaking in behind the defense for those easy layups. That breaks the defense's back.
5 assists for KJ, and Sabalos comes in and scores 4 quick points. Eddie Johnson tried to shoot before he caught it. Barkley has trouble with it. John Kemp has it slapped away, and Barkley commits the foul. Charles Barkley picking up his first. Both teams are over the limit.
Charles Barkley's going to try the bust-out play that he likes to do. A lot of congestion. Sean Kemp knocks it loose, picks it up, and then in frustration right there, Charles hacks Sean Kemp on the wrist. So Kemp will be back at the free throw line now as we are in the penalty. 48.5 seconds remaining here in the first quarter.
You can see why they have so many steals. They've averaged 9 in the playoffs. During the regular season, almost 12. They have the quick hands. They're always reaching in on you.
They have a long, lanky team, Gary. Long arms, get in passing lane. They switch everything defensively. So you cannot make just that normal pass that you would make where you run a little screen down, the guy pops out, because you've got a defender switching out into the passing lane. You must be very conscious of that when you play the Sonics.
John Kemp continues to be very strong at the free throw line. Sonics in this game are 9 of 9, and here is Dana Barros who's checked in to track Kevin Johnson.
Gives him more quickness against KJ.
And Barros committing the foul on Kevin. They get the quickness with Barros in there. Also a good outside shooter as Kevin Johnson will go to the line. Barros with his first foul. 28-25 the Suns as we have 37.8 seconds left in this first quarter.
KJ will see 3 different type of defenders tonight. He will see Gary Payton, who's about a 6'4 defender who is quick with the long arms. He will see Dana Barros now, who's smaller and quicker, and who will make Kevin Johnson play defense more but with his shot. And then you've got Derek McKee, who will back off of him and try to control his penetration with his size.
Kevin Johnson very good at the line after that miserable night Wednesday. He has 10 points. 30-25 Phoenix. Nate McMillan stolen by Sabalos. And Cedric, stress reaction and all in that foot, finishes very well.
It's a great first quarter for Phoenix. They have to love what they've been able to come out and do. Barkley and Kevin Johnson have set the tone for this team, and Sabalos and Dumas have given them great production from the small forward spot.
Phoenix is shooting 60% from the field as we go down to the last 9 seconds. Rebound, Mark West. West played only 9 minutes on Wednesday. Here's Chambers, kicks it off to Marley. Marley with a 3. It would have counted had it gone. And so we've played a furious 12 minutes here in Game 3 in the Western Conference Finals. And the Suns have gotten off effectively, as Doug said, 32-25. Back with quarter number 2 in just a moment. Puget Sound, Seattle. Game 3, we played 1 quarter, 32-25. And Doug, it has been furious, and as hot as it is here in the Coliseum, you've got to have depth. And that's one thing Seattle has, but also Phoenix should counter as well.
Well, I think you see what's happened even with Sabalos and Dumas coming in. Look at 13 points, 5 of 5. McKee and McMillan, 4 points, 1 of 6. Gary, one thing jumps out the first quarter, though. You look at the field goal shooting. Seattle 8 for 26. Phoenix 12 for 27, but Seattle had 25 rebounds to 10 for Phoenix, 10 on the offensive boards.
Nate McMillan, who did not score in the game Wednesday, is fouled by Tom Chambers. Well, that will keep you in a ball game when you have miserable shooting.
McMillan with a nice spinning drive on the baseline. Tom Chambers coming over to give help, gets the foul.
Chambers committing his first. Danny Ainge has checked into the ball game for Dan Marley.
Let's keep our eye on this Phoenix lineup now. Kevin Johnson's not in the ball game, so Frankie Johnson will handle the basketball. You've got Ainge now in for the first time. Chambers, Sabalas, and Mark West. This unit from Phoenix must make sure they take care of the basketball and not start turning it over and feed off what Seattle wants to do to get back in this game. They trail only 6 after having a horrible first quarter shooting-wise.
Nate McMillan's been having a horrible series shooting the ball, for that matter, the entire playoffs, but he still contributes with his ability to pass the ball and play good defense. That was the first miss at the free throw line for Seattle. Frank Johnson out to Danny Ainge. Ainge has been struggling with his shooting. So is this guy. 2 of 11 in the series, a leaner, and he is fouled. And the Sonics felt that Chambers had pushed off. Instead, the foul is going to go on Seattle.
Phoenix found the mismatch. Dana Barrows somehow had gotten switched off on Chambers. They ran a little double screen roll for Frankie Johnson, and Barrows got picked off. He got caught inside against Tom Chambers, and now Chambers will get to the line. And this is a guy who I know Paul Westphal would like to see make a contribution. This is a guy that really helped get this franchise back to where it is today. And I know sentimentally Paul Westphal would love for Tom Chambers to be able to contribute to what this team is trying to accomplish here in getting to the finals.
Barrows with his second foul. Chambers has really dropped off at the free throw line. He was shooting 84% in the regular season, 74 in the playoffs. But he gets both of these.
He's always been a very good free throw shooter. Normally he's way up into the upper 80%.
So the Suns now resting some of their starters, as is Seattle, as the action has been so hectic early. Eddie Johnson, who's really not gotten started in this series, a former Sun for 3+ years, and now Frank Johnson is caught holding him on the baseline. Frank Johnson has contributed to this team. As Dick Van Arsdale put it, he says he just knows how to play basketball.
He's the energizer. He's the guy they can bring off the bench. They're very confident with his defense, his quickness, his knowledge of the game. And he's the guy they'll put out in critical stages to make big plays for them.
Johnson, who's looking desperately to find the stroke, and it doesn't go there as Sabalas with the rebound.
Well, you could sense in the crowd they wanted that to go in too. They'd love to see EJ get high.
Baseline Sabalas, partially blocked. Cage of the rebound. McMillan out quickly. Leans in to Ainge with a nice finger roll. That was a tough shot. 6-point lead for the Suns. Sabalas lightning quick inside, but it's blocked. Here comes Sean Kemp. What an athlete he is. And no foul. McMillan on the baseline, broken up. And eventually Sabalas gets it out to Frank Johnson. Bodies everywhere, but no whistle, and Frank Johnson finishes.
This was a furious play. Danny Ainge pulled Sean Kemp down. That's why there was no call. It should have been on Danny Ainge if there had been anything.
Sean Kemp coming inside to Cage, can't handle it, and it's going to be off of Seattle. Sean Kemp is playing so hard in this game, almost out of control at times.
I think Seattle's going to play better when they get tired. I think right now they have so much energy, they're playing out of control, like you said. I think when they get tired, they'll settle down and play better.
That's a tough shot, follow away, but Chambers hit it in. It's very tough when you're 2 of 11 in a series to hit that one. And now Seattle's called a timeout. Biggest lead of the ball game. A 10-point lead for the Suns. We're going to take a break.
9:54 remaining in the second quarter. Gary, this was the frantic action. Sean Kemp got the block shot. He took it linked to the floor, and the contact with Danny Ainge. We're going to stop it right here. And this is Danny Ainge's left arm. And watch what he does to Sean Kemp. He pulls him right down on top of him, so that's why there was no foul on Kemp. If anything, it would have been a foul on Danny Ainge. That's the veteran tricks that you get as you start to get one step slower than you used to be.
Look at this shooting thus far. Kemp, McKee, and Perkins, 1 of 12. Of course, George Karl's team has not been shooting well the entire playoffs, shooting 44% as a team, considerably below what they did in the regular season.
Well, Gary, again, you say, why would they play better once they got tired? Because they got a lot of nervous energy right now. They're so frenetic. They're one step ahead of themselves instead of just slowing down and making the simple play.
And a double team, and the fans wanting Frank Johnson to get a technical when he slammed the ball down. Eddie T. Rush is just indicating the holding foul instead. Third team foul against the Suns, the second on Frank, as McKee now will inbound. This is a noisy place. The intensity and the heat that George Karl talked about is here tonight. Eddie Johnson tripped on his own feet. Eddie Johnson said, I have looked so forward to playing against my former teammates. He might be trying just too hard. That's the 9th turnover now against Seattle.
And also, if you're Phoenix right now, you say, we've got KJ and Barkley resting right now. We're actually increasing the lead in this ball game. They went down and rested, and they were up 6. They're now up 10, so they've got a good 3 minutes rest, and Phoenix is building on the lead. That's what you want to happen with your bench, especially in a building this hot, where you know you're going to have to go deep into the bench to win the game.
Nate McMillan felt that Frank had kind of hooked around him, but it was a foul on Nate McMillan instead. His first. Second team foul on Seattle. 9:06 to go in the second. Ainge from outside, and the rebound by McKee. McMillan in a hurry. Nice pass to Kemp. Nate McMillan does so many things well for the Seattle team. Kemp has now hit his first shot. He's 1 of 5, and Ainge at the other end. That's a 2.
Notice how the transition game of Phoenix is much more effective tonight. They're not walking the ball up the floor. They're going at Seattle before they get back and get their defense and their double teams and their traps all set up.
Kemp inside, kicks it out to Eddie Johnson. That'll be a 2 west of the rebound, and EJ just not able to find the range right now. Both he and Frank Johnson, 34 years of age. They've been around. Frank Johnson, tough shot. Rebound is cleared by EJ. McKee. The height advantage over Sabonis. Sabonis with the defensive board.
See, they're starting to rebound now, and they've got numbers, Gary. Look what's happening now. Not as many offensive rebounds for Seattle. Phoenix is doing a better job, and now they're getting out in their transition game. So a good sign for Phoenix. Seattle must make an adjustment and keep someone back to protect the backcourt.
A foul on Tom Chambers, sends him to the line. And interestingly enough, and you alluded to this earlier, the Suns faring very well without Barkley in the lineup.
That's what you have to do. You've got a veteran bench. See, the difference in the Seattle bench and the Phoenix bench is Seattle's got some younger players. They do have an Eddie Johnson out there, but you're coming in with a Barrows and some of these younger guys, and Phoenix is coming in with veterans. They're coming in with Chambers and Frankie Johnson and Danny Ainge. All these guys have been around a long while, and that's why you'd expect the bench to play well on the road.
Well, they are. They are outscoring Seattle bench-wise, 17-7. Could be 18-7 if Chambers hits this one. It's a 12-point lead, and I'm surprised, probably as most people, that the Suns, after losing Wednesday, have come in here against a team that was 33-8 at home in the regular season and had won 5 straight playoff games at home. They are tough here, and the Suns have met their first challenge. Kemp trying to spin on Chambers. Chambers commits a foul. John Kemp continuing to play so hard in this game.
That's a tough cover for Tom Chambers. John Kemp's got the young legs, the explosive dunking ability around the basket. So let's see if they continue to try to exploit that matchup. You've now seen Barkley switched off to him.
Kemp on the nice feed. The foul a moment ago on Chambers is a second. That basket will count, and there's another foul on the Suns.
I think they're going to get Frankie Johnson. It was a back screen on Barkley. The alley-oop over the top, and I think that Frankie Johnson pushed him. Here it is, the pass over the top, the back screen on Barkley. There's the push on Frank Johnson. Here's the back screen right there. You see Gary Payton, and Frank Johnson does not bump the guy on the way to the basket. Once he gets there and it's a jumping contest, Shawn Kemp's going to win that every time.
That on Frank Johnson, already his 3rd foul as Kemp misses a free throw. Barkley back in the ball game, pushing it up. Chambers tries to take Kemp inside. They double on him. He's in trouble. McKee comes up with a steal. Ricky Pierce pulling up. Ainge is in his face, but Pierce hits it anyway. And right now, Seattle making a concerted comeback. 42-34 after trailing by 12.
Phoenix got to be real careful here. They don't score, and Seattle gets a score. They might have to get a timeout. You see Seattle starting to get their game back.
Sabonis missing. Rebound to Payton. Ricky Pierce to Payton to Kemp. He cranked that one up a couple of times. Didn't get it to go. Sabalas to the rebound, and he is fouled in the backcourt. Well, the Suns have been known to hit valleys where they don't score some points. They'll get teams down 10 to 12 points, only to see that lead diminish in a hurry. Right now, they lead it 42-34.
Sonics trying to get back into this game, trail only by 8 now. And let's take a look at the Sonic defense. This is what they do best. Tom Chambers is going to catch the ball, and as he starts to drive here, he's going to drive, and they're going to turn him back to the middle. You're going to see the double team and the rotating, trapping defense. Shut the baseline. Here comes the double team. We stop it right there. Passing lane. Passing lane. The only guy is open, and you cannot see him. The turnover is forced, and they get out in the transition game. That's Seattle's game. The trapping, running, pressing Seattle SuperSonics.
And the Sonics, who evened up this series at 1 game apiece and trailed by as many as 12, now trail 42-34. 6:45 to go in the first half.
Gary, I said that Phoenix was doing a better job on the defensive backboard. Seattle had 10 offensive rebounds in the first quarter. They have none this quarter. That's how they've opened the game up.
Kevin Johnson tries to go inside. Payton committed the foul. Now that's his third. He had picked up one just a moment ago, so Gary Payton now has committed 3 fouls in the ballgame.
15 fouls.
You know, they have 6 guys with 3 fouls on them early in the game Wednesday.
Normally, when you give up the kind of fouls they do against a team like Phoenix, it will cost you. It did not the other night. There's Gary Payton.
For 2 shots.
I did not see the foul there. The bump came a little bit later, so Gary Payton does pick up his 3rd foul. And KJ, once again, Gary, very aggressive, attacking the basket, not settling for the passive pass and taking himself out of the game.
McMillan will come in now. Well, the one thing that Payton was doing so well Wednesday was the pressure he's putting on the ball, the intensity. It's not happening tonight. Kevin's just gone right by him.
Yeah, and a bad sign. Kevin Johnson walks up and misses both free throws. That's when you start getting in your mind you're not shooting it well, and before you release it, you've got yourself convinced you're not going to make the shot.
Doug, he historically has done that. He'll get into these kind of slumps where he will not shoot the ball well from the line. Sweeping hook by Sutton Sam. Perkins has shown us a little bit of everything in this series. Perkins has hit his first field goal. He's 1 of 4. Barkley from outside. Ames keeps it alive to Kevin Johnson.
There's the guy right there. This is the guy that's going to hurt them if they're not careful. I just was getting ready to speak of Dumas. He's hitting the shot. He got his rest. Keep your eye on Dumas the next 4 or 5 minutes. I think he's going to hit you about 3 or 4 quick field goals.
Well, he's good from about 18 feet. He's 4 of 4 tonight. As we mentioned, he only missed 1 field goal in this series. And Perkins now trying to carry this team.
Whoever Chambers is playing, that's who they're going to go to. They feel like they can attack him defensively. He's playing Perkins, they go to Perkins. He plays Kemp, they go to Kemp.
One reason he's in there, Miller picked up those 2 fouls early in the ballgame. Here is Dumas. They have to respect that shot. That one was either tipped or changed, one or the other, if not both.
Well, one thing we know, it was a forced shot.
8 rebounds now for Kemp. Here's Perkins, who's hit the last 2 shots.
See, they're going right at Chambers.
9 seconds on the shot clock. Pierce with Ames staying with him, but that doesn't bother the 33-year veteran.
They're getting tired. Seattle's getting tired, and they're playing better. They're shooting better. They're executing better. And now we have a 4-point game.
So that 12-point lead diminished in a hurry. A 20-second timeout by the Suns. I know people can't understand that, but there is so much nervous energy, Doug, when you come out of the shoot. And you could see how frantic it was early.
You see Ricky Pierce now. He gathers himself. You don't see the frenetic play. You see him take his time, squares his shoulders, gets the little bump, and buries the shot. You saw Perkins take his time the last 2 possessions. Come across the lane, left hook, fading baseline jump shot. After shooting 31% in the first quarter with all that frenetic energy, they're now shooting 64%, and they have no offensive rebounds. You think it would be vice versa.
Yep. Well, for Pierce, he has 11 points. He is high man. 10 for Kevin Johnson. 9 for Dumas.
Going in the post to Barkley. The double team will show Dumas could get the shot.
Nate McMillan is their best double guy. They like to send him at Barkley. Barkley turn around. Rebound, Nate McMillan.
The outside jump shot is now not going.
Perkins lost it. He couldn't quite handle it, but he saves it to McMillan.
Here's Pierce again. That's a three. It's a one-point game. A 13-2 run now by Seattle. Barkley inside to the hole, misses, reloads it.
See the thing he did there, he did not shoot the outside jump shot, took it to the basket. He was living off outside jumpers. That's what Seattle wants him to do.
Kemp in deep. West trying to stay with him. Kemp again. Dumas with the rebound. Look at this activity. Kemp has it, and we have a foul. Ed T. Rush, and somebody pounds the ball into the floor, and Dumas is hurt. Dumas has had problems with an ankle. He hurt it late in the season, and he's trying to walk it off now.
Well, they can ill afford to lose him right now. He's playing very well. We know Sabalas has an injured foot. This action reminds me of New York and Chicago. This is the most intense game that I have seen in the Western Conference or that I've been able to do in person. Bodies everywhere. You see him twist his ankle there, but Seattle frenetically working around the basket. There's Kemp again in the middle of the play. So all this energy now starting to work for Seattle. They have a chance to pull it in one.
John Kemp has played so hard tonight. Sometimes misguided energy, as you have mentioned, but he has never given up on this ball game. He now has 9 points. He has 3 blocks of the ball game and also 9 rebounds.
Gary, the one thing you want, though, is you want your big guys to play that hard. You know, when big guys play hard, so many good things happen. It just filters down to your team because they set the entire pace of the game.
Barkley now taking it inside, and he draws the foul. So Barkley now has decided, I'm going to take it to the hole, forget this outside stuff.
I think that's a smart move. Charles had fallen in love with a jump shot because he hit them early. Nice pass by KJ, and you see just the power of Barkley. Now this guy's 6'5", and he just squirted up through 2 guys that are 6'10" and dunked it through both of them. That tells you the power that he has on his finish.
The significance of that foul is Sam Perkins has committed his 3rd, so both he and Payton now have 3. Michael Cage will come into the ball game.
Now what you lose with Perkins sitting down is you lose the threat of his three-point shooting. Michael Cage probably a better rebounder, but you lose the threat of Perkins' post ability in the lane and also the three-point shot on penetration.
Barkley trying to complete the 3-point play, and he does.
Charles loves this. He reminds me of Bill Laimbeer when Bill Laimbeer used to love to be booed in the opposing arenas. Barkley is feeding off this energy from the Seattle crowd.
They were after him early, and as you say, he just responds to that kind of abuse. Backing in is McKee, and we're going to have a foul on Marley. According to Ed Rush, he got a knee up in there and commits a foul on McKee.
The foul is on number 9, Dan Marley.
Marley has committed his 2nd personal foul, sending McKee to the line.
Seattle runs a little play where the guard steps up and they back screen, and when they back screen, they get the switch.
McKee with 4 points. He's only 1 of 6 from the field. This is a guy who George Karl says you want more from him, but you always still want him on the floor because he does some things that don't show up, as he said, statistically.
Well, he has sort of that lazy-looking personality. You think, how hard is he playing? He's a very talented player, but the knock on him has been you don't get it from him every night.
Yeah. 2-point lead for the Suns, who led by as many as 12 in this first half. A double up on Johnson, and we're going to have Ricky Pierce called for kicking the ball. No foul, he kicked the ball, so they'll inbound on the far side. Now wait a minute, no, they aren't going to call a foul.
Kevin Johnson on the spin. Right there they say he leg whips Kevin Johnson, causes him to go down, which forces the turnover. So Ricky Pierce not happy the fact KJ will get to the line, and both teams now in the penalty, 3:22 remaining.
That 2nd foul on Pierce. Kevin missing those free throws, got this one. At the conclusion of tonight's game, Doug and I will be selecting the Budweiser player of the game. KJ, 11 points, 7 assists. Dumas on the far side is jogging up and down. Looks like he might be able to come back into the ball game after that injury, which we surmise was the ankle, the problem he's had before.
I think he's trying to prevent it from stiffening up. Now remember, he's going to have to go in at halftime.
Mark West reaching in. Marley double teaming inside. They're going to call it on Marley. So Dan Marley now has picked up his third. He's in trouble. And there's a guy who played 48 minutes in game 2, 45 minutes in game 1, and they just don't want him out of there any of this game, but he'll have to leave now.
He's leaving with 3 fouls and no points, so Dan Marley, after the big game in game 2, scoring-wise, has yet to score tonight, but they've been handled by Sabalas and Dumas. They have picked up the slack for Marley as he has not been able to hit any shots tonight. Danny Ainge back into the game. We know he has struggled with his perimeter shooting.
Seattle now is 15 of 18 from the line. Phoenix is 15 of 19. Both these teams are down free throw shooting from the regular season. Kevin Johnson to Sabalas, takes it into a crowd, and we got a foul. Not any place to go that time for Cedric, but Derek McKee bailed him out and committed the foul.
This game might end up being the battle of the free throw line. KJ again very aggressive, attacking the Seattle defense, and the slashing ability of Cedric Sabalas. You see him taking it to the basket. There's the foul by Derek McKee. So Sabalas now back at the line.
Cedric working hard on the free throws, as we said earlier tonight, shooting 63% in the playoffs as opposed to 73%. Of course, he led the NBA in field goal percentage. And what's he shooting in this series? 73% from the field. He's just been trouble with that foot.
Gets a lot of easy baskets, Gary. His strength is the fast break, and again, hiding around on that baseline.
Well, he had 21 points in 23 minutes in game 1, 10 points in game 2, but was slowed by that stress reaction in that left foot.
Well, he's got his hands full now. He's playing Ricky Pierce. He's going to be run through about 50 screens every time down the floor. Someone's going to have to give him some help.
Those good shooters, they get that bounce, don't they?
Shooters roll.
Yep.
See KJ keeping his dribble. He did not do this in game 2.
Ricky Pierce is 16 points. Yeah, you were talking about that before the game. He needs not to pick it up. Barkley from outside. Now he hits outside. That'll open it up inside for him. 55-50 the Suns. 2:18 left in this first half. Baseline to McKee. Bobbles it. 8 seconds on the shot clock. Where's Sean Kemp going? No place on the baseline. Gets it out to McMillan. 3 seconds. McMillan hits it with 2 seconds on the shot clock.
That's his versatility. He's big enough to finish those shots around the basket.
Barkley fakes the shot from outside. Doesn't get it. Rebound by Cage. McMillan out to Pierce. A 3. Over the back. It'll be Phoenix's basketball. We're going to have a break with 1:37 to go in the first half. The Suns by 3. They led by 12.
Handling the double teams. Now in game 2, when he saw this, we stop it right there in the double team. He picked up his dribble against the double team. This time he does not. So watch what he does. He strings it out. And when he does, now he has the switch. Now he's being played by a forward. He gets it back, recognizes it, and now attacks the forward and creates the shot for Charles Barkley. That's being aggressive against the double teams and not taking yourself out of the play and then standing and watching. As a result, he's already matched his effort from game 2, where he had only 4 assists and really struggled to score.
Well, and everybody gets standing around when you pick up the dribble, right?
He's their engine, Gary. He's the one that makes them go. He's the one that's going to create all the opportunities. They're going to feed off his penetrating drives. There's the double team again.
Same thing. This time he gets it into Sabalas. 6 seconds on the shot clock. Barkley with a 3, and that's an air ball, and you'll hear about that. Charles says, it's okay, I can handle it. Phoenix is 0 for 3 from the arc from three-point land. Kemp, little jump hook. West doing a good job on the boards after staying in his face on that shot. Kevin inside, it'll be off for the Suns. Kevin says can't be. He thought he was fouled. It'll go to Seattle. Westfall is upset. But Kevin is still penetrating, still slashing, making something happen inside. From the corner, McKee. Follow inside is Ricky Pierce, and eventually McKee's got it. Here come all those offensive rebounds we were talking about earlier, and Pierce is an end result, has cut it to 1. And that'll be a foul on Nate McMillan.
Foul on number 10, Nate McMillan, his second.
This is an angry Kevin Johnson. He thought he got fouled the last possession. He didn't, so he was going 1-on-5. Got the foul on Nate McMillan. KJ back at the free throw line now, but that was an angry play. Kevin Johnson was not happy at the last possession, and he was going to take the ball right to the basket, whether it was 1-on-3, 4, or 5.
And McMillan committed his second foul. And now Cage will come out of the ball game as we have 30.4 seconds left. And at halftime, the coach, Hubie Brown, will be with Ernie Johnson. They'll update that series between the Bulls and Knicks, Game 3, and they'll also recap this game, the Western Conference Final, the Reebok halftime, coming up.
About a 5-second differential in the shot clock and the game clock.
West out on Pierce. Kemp in on Sabanos, a mismatch inside, and he goes to work.
Nice play by Ricky Pierce. He saw the mismatch and gave it to Kemp against Sabanos.
Kemp is now 3 of the 11 in the game. A 1-point game. Doom should say Sabanos, tough shot. West follows once, twice, and the half comes to an end. Well, you can take a deep breath, as this has been some first half energy-wise. The intensity. Phoenix leads by 1, 57-56. Hubie Brown and Ernie Johnson will be coming your way after this break.
56 Phoenix over Seattle at the break. This is the Reebok Halftime Report. I'm Ernie Johnson. You know this guy. It's Hubie Brown. And you were saying before the game, KJ had to step up. His numbers down in this series, but he is getting them going tonight.
Yeah, but he's the man. He's the guy that sets the tempo, the guy who makes the penetration and breaks your defense down. It's nice to see him with the 14 points and the 8 assists at halftime. This is a barn burner. But we'd like to show you right now. Now, here we have KJ right here with Gary Payton. He will funnel him into the trap. Now, this evening, Kevin is beating the trap and getting into the lane. Now, once this happens, you're going to see he has choices. Now, in the second half, keep an eye on this. Now, he can take it himself right to the rim. He can drop it off for a potential layup there, but instead he hits out for what we call a medium jump shot. Now, can they continue to hit this shot the rest of the night? Because in the second half, fatigue will play a major factor here.
It is a 1-point game, though. Phoenix did have a 12-point lead at one point. Seattle not ready to roll over. Ricky Pierce lighting it up.
Oh, Ricky Pierce is dynamite. You know that he's going to be a primetime scorer for you. They ran that 13-2 run. You say, why? In that building, they play in major spurts, and we should be looking for that in the second half. To me, a big question mark is, can Phoenix sustain the pounding that they're getting with Seattle on Seattle's end of the court?
Another word on Ricky Pierce, 18 points in the first half, 34 in Game 2 as the Sonics even the series at a game apiece. Coming up next on the Reebok Halftime Report, we will delve into that New York-Chicago series and casinos and MJ and media lockouts and all that stuff next. Got the Village people going at the Coliseum. You hate to see that in this league. 57-56, the Suns with a 1-point lead at the break as the Reebok Halftime Report continues. Let us move east now to the New York-Chicago series. Knicks up 2-0. Michael Jordan, as usual, the center of attention on the court and off. Let's start with on the court in this series.
Well, on the court in the series, Ernie, he's really struggling. He's only shooting 37%. Right now, we're going to show you. Here's the basketball. They hit out to the wing area. This is Michael being guarded. He will come right down in and post up. I maintain that in this series, if they will get to him more in high percentage shooting areas, he would not go and struggle 10 for 27 or 12 for 32. Now, once he catches this catch down in here, there is no one who can double team him quickly. He'll make his move, and then he'll take on the double team or he'll drop off and make the easy pass.
In the series, Michael Jordan averaging 31.5, but as you point out, not shooting for a high percentage, only 22 out of 59. Now let's move off the court with Michael Jordan. You've heard all about the New York Times article quoting people at a casino saying MJ's there till 2:30 in the morning, got a game at 8 o'clock that night. What is your read on this thing? I mean, he's done nothing illegal. He says he's back in bed by 1, got his 8 hours of sleep.
Yeah, first of all, Michael, he's an adult, but it's a bad choice. It's a bad choice for the national people who enjoy the basketball and who really follow him and have him on a plateau. I know he was with his father and his very close friends. According to Michael, he departed at 11:04. All right, now the big thing is in a situation like this, it happened and he was not fined by his team. Now, but we did say in this deal that Michael will sue any person who stands up and says that he was in that casino at 2:30. Now that's strong, so you have to believe the man and what he said. 11:04 departure.
Reporters were all over this story yesterday. In fact, there was just a horde of media asking Michael Jordan about that. The Bulls didn't take too kindly to all of the response. In fact, they boycotted the media today at practice, and Phil Jackson explained the move.
I think that they don't like being portrayed in the negative manner that they've been portrayed as a group and individually too. And I think that's a little bit unfair. I don't know about some of the specifics of it because I haven't been following it closely. But I do know that in general idea, I think some of the people feel like the focus and the direction has been a rather negative direction, and they just feel they need some more positive thought, and they're not going to contribute to negative things.
Phil Jackson continued, he talked about Scottie Pippen's ejection, said that wasn't handled fairly by the media, that kind of thing. What's your read on this?
Well, first of all, you have to look at all this and say, what will the NBA office do? All of these media people have a job. This is the center of attraction of the NBA playoffs, Chicago, New York. Now, did Atlantic City happen? Yes. Did Scottie Pippen throw the basketball at Billy Oakes, the referee, and get thrown out? Yes, it did. Is
Horace Grant.
Yeah, Horace Grant being overplayed by
Charles Oakley.
Charles Oakley. Is this incredible? All right, and we're going to show it right there. You see that the 9 points to the 6, but the big thing is the rebounding, and it's 5 offensive rebounds per game where he's getting the putback. Now, in Grant's behalf, you got to say that he is injured. Now, all of these things have happened. Now, another reality is, how about the 55 and 51% shooting of the Knicks, all right, and only 43 for Chicago. Then you look at the rebounding, 20 and 11 in both games. Plus, you got to remember they are 1-5 versus New York on the season. That's reality.
And some missed opportunities. Let's go back to the machine here.
Yeah, we'd like to show you right now what is happening here. Right here, Patrick Ewing is fronting all of the centers, whether it's Cartwright, Williams, etc. Here's the basketball here. This is a missed opportunity, in my opinion. If you put the ball in the corner and then you bring the offside man up, this defender here must come up with him. So now all you do is you lob a pass to the front man who is stepping up, and the centers now become a center of attention. But what is happening is by fronting, all right, what they are doing is conning Chicago out of inside post-up play. Now they bring the ball back out, and nothing is happening for the Chicago Bulls. So to me, when you play basketball against a great defensive team, you must get easy scores. That is a way.
We're not going to do the telestrator anymore at this point, but John Starks, tell me about him and the impact he's made. It was a big scoring night in Game 1, huge dunk in Game 2.
Well, he attacks the rim as good as anyone that we have in basketball today, especially at the guard position. And also the screen and roll that he and Doc Rivers are coming off of. Chicago is trapping, but nothing is happening due to the fact that Starks as well as Rivers are getting into the lane, taking the ball to the rim, and then hitting people moving on the baseline for easy scores. This must be cleaned up, Ernie, or, like we said, they have a chance to steal a game. New York has a chance to steal a game in Chicago.
And they could make quick work of the Chicago Bulls. If that happens, it'd be at least a 3-1 lead. Let's take a look. Game 3 is tomorrow. Game 4 is Monday. Don't know yet if 5, 6, or 7 are going to be needed. At the Seattle Center Coliseum, Game 3 of the Western Conference Finals. Third period just ahead.
The Reebok Halftime Report has been brought to you by Reebok, who reminds you that on Planet Reebok, there are no limits.
Seattle, the Suns, who led by as many as 12, lead by 1 at halftime. Gary Bender with Doug Collins. And Doug, Paul Westphal said we're a good road team, and they proved that in the first half. They haven't let the pressure bother them that much.
They played very, very well. 45% field goal shooting, but the stat that really jumps out at me, Kevin Johnson, 8 assists, only 1 turnover. The Suns only turned it over 5 times, but they gave up 14 offensive rebounds. You have to be concerned about as the game goes on.
Boy, this game really changed from quarter 1 to number 2 as far as the shooting is concerned.
Again, I thought it was real key. I thought as the Sonics got tired, they started playing better. They started shooting better. They continued to stay up on the board. You see their +8 rebounding, the 14 offensive rebounds, and Ricky Pierce has really carried them offensively once again tonight. You're going to see the nice pass from Sean Kemp. Ricky Pierce takes it on the drive. He realizes Danny Ainge cannot block his shot, so he takes it to the scoring territory. And Ricky Pierce, again, in this first half, 7 for 11 for 18 points. And game 2, when he had 34 points, he shot 65%. His team shot 38. And tonight, the same trend, 64 and 35.
You look at the leading scorers for the Suns, Barkley and KJ with 14. Sabalas coming off the bench to contribute 8. Pierce with 18. Kemp with 12. Even though Kemp did not shoot well in that first half, he was 3 of 11. One of the things that's interesting to me as you look at those stats, Doug, is at home they usually win by committee, but it's not proving that way right now. Pierce is carrying Seattle.
Well, will the rest of these guys get their offense on track in the second half? Kemp and McKee combined shooting 4 for 18.
We start the second half. Oliver Miller will be starting the pivot position. Dumas is back in after re-injuring that ankle. He had gotten off to a very good start for the Suns. Sam Perkins playing with 3 fouls, takes it inside as a block. Marley comes away with the rebound.
This is nothing new that Oliver Miller starts the second half. He's done that a lot this year, and there's the man on that baseline again, Richard Dumas. He is now 5 for 6 in the ball game, 11 points.
And you have to respect his range. He's known as a slasher, a guy to take it to the hole, but he can shoot that jumper from about 18 feet.
That's the difference between he and Sabalos. Sabalos a little bit better rebounder, Dumas better shooter, and they both finish very well around the basket.
The ball off of Phoenix. 11 seconds on the shot clock. Just underway, second half, 59-56 the Suns. The Suns, after losing Wednesday night, trying to regain that home court advantage if they can pick up one here. Here's Kemp driving. Kevin Johnson comes across, commits a foul, and the basket will count.
You know what? I thought his feet had come down on the floor. We lost vision. Did you tell me he took that ball all the way to the other side of the basket? Look at this. There's the foul. Now, you tell me his feet did not come down. This is a spectacular shot. Look at this. What a great continuation by Kemp. I thought his feet had come down and he had gone back up and just thrown it at the basket. He actually stayed in the air. What a sensational play.
That's called body control, huh?
Yeah, and the great ability to stay in the air.
Yeah. So now it's a tie game. A 3-point play by Sean Kemp. Seattle has never led in this ball game. A double on Barkley. Round to Miller. There's Kemp with a steal. Sean Kemp doing it all. All the way. The Sonics with their first lead. Kevin Johnson trying to tie, and he does.
That was a crowd silencer.
Oh. McKee, who did not shoot well, 1 of 7 in the first half, backs out. And a foul on Dumas, trying to fight through the pick, and Dumas commits the foul. That will be his second. They'll take it on the near side, out of bounds.
Sean Kemp got a great steal, and you know, one thing that really drives coaches crazy is when you let a guy go into him and never stop the basketball. They let Kemp take it length of the floor and never make a pass.
There's Miller with those long arms. He's 6'9", but plays like a 7-footer because of those long arms. Coming up with a steal. Johnson again, he feels it. So he hits 2 in a row. After they lost the lead, he's got it back for the Suns. Baseline McKee. Barkley trying to track down this budding superstar. 7 seconds left on the clock. Pierce in traffic. Tipped up by McKee. Marley playing with 3 fouls. Comes down with a defensive board. 9:30 to go in the third. Dumas again from outside. Rebound Perkins. Marley somehow trying to shadow Pierce, who had 18 points the first half. The key to the hole. That might help his confidence.
Derek McKee is a right-handed player who loves to go to his left. Dumas has got to recognize that and push him to his offhand or his weak hand.
Even at 63, Marley inside, draws the traffic. Sean Kemp got a piece of it, but he also got him. Sean Kemp coming over, collapsing on Marley. That will be the third on Kemp.
His third. First team.
Dan Marley takes it to the basket so hard, gets the contact, and here we get a chance. I watched him shoot free throws before. He's shooting 57% in the playoffs, and he's not bending his knees or finishing up on his toes. It's all upper body. Now he makes that one, but if you watch it, really the free throw starts from the ground up, and you get up off your feet, on your toes, you follow it up, and it goes right through the shot, and Marley has been shooting all upper body.
That was his first point of the game a moment ago. You said something interesting, though. You don't say anything now.
No, you don't say anything now because you'll really get him thinking about it. That's something he's going to have to work on in the offseason. As well as he shoots the ball, he should be a 75 to 80% free throw shooter.
Well, he shot very well during the regular season, shooting 78%. McKee from outside, and now Derek McKee has started to come alive after going 1 for 7 in the first half. Pressure, Kevin Johnson's got to be careful as McKee jumped in front of him, batted away. It's going to be the Seattle SuperSonics ball, and Kevin Johnson slow getting up. He's hurt.
He got kicked in the thigh, I think. They're going to have to take a foul. It's 4-on-5 right now.
Kemp at the other end, and there is a foul. Oliver Miller has been called for the foul.
Well, all the Phoenix Suns back home watching are holding their breath right now that Kevin Johnson has always had leg problems in the playoffs. See if he gets kicked in the left thigh. Let's watch this. I think right in that area he got kicked. Right there as he starts to go down, and he's limping off the court right now. I don't know if it's the knee that he injured and had problems with in the playoffs, but right now Kevin Johnson is hurting. See, KJ thought he was fouled right here, that he was bumped as he started to turn the corner. Then McKee comes in from behind and slaps it loose. Right there, KJ goes down, and we'll have to wait to see whether it's a knee or a thigh or exactly what the injury is.
Joe Prosky, the trainer, is over there. It looked like that ball was actually tipped by the Sonics over in that far side. And it would have been the Suns' ball, but instead they came down, committed the foul, and Kevin Johnson leaves now with 18 points, 9 assists, and of course, the question is, will he be able to return?
That's how playoff series change. An injury like that changes the whole looks of the playoffs. And in many instances, championships are won and lost with an injury to a key player.
Well, he's been hurt each year in the playoffs. He had been hurt at the end of the regular season, started the playoffs out of Game 1, and then played with a 12-ounce brace, which he discarded in Game 3 against San Antonio.
This is where the veteran play of Frankie Johnson is going to have to come into play. He's going to have to settle his team down.
8 seconds on the shot clock. Johnson inside. He's hammered. Hits the floor hard, and the foul will go on the Sonics. It'll be Derek McKee committing the foul. It's his third.
That's the second team foul.
We know Frankie Johnson is fearless. He's not going to back off the pressure. Steps in and drives to the basket. There's the foul. Looks like Sean Kemp got the block cleanly.
So Johnson now instead of Kevin Johnson. And Frank missing that free throw. He was a 78% free throw shooter in the regular season. And you can see KJ's in real pain. Frank gets the second half of it. Sonics by 1.
Trying to go to McKee against Dumas, feeling like he's got the hot hand at this point in time.
Never jumping out, respecting Sam Perkins' range. Pierce almost lost that off his foot. 2 seconds on the shot clock. Rebound, it's going to be off of Dumas.
I think they feel like they can post McKee against Dumas. In that set, they were trying to get to him. Dumas did a pretty good job of fronting and circling him. See if they try to go back to McKee.
McKee's hit these 2 shots now in the third quarter. Barkley on Sean Kemp with a ball fake. Perkins, you see Miller respecting that, runs out on him, and Perkins takes it inside.
He ran at him, but he ran at the wrong hand. Perkins is a lefty. When he ran at him, he allowed him to take the ball past him with his left hand.
Good point. 69-66, biggest lead for Seattle. In baseline to Dumas. Miller kicks it out. Suns right now a little bit out of sync. Here is Dumas trying to take it in. Tough shot. Miller tries to follow. Perkins comes up with it. And a foul by Frank Johnson. And this game right now, very critical for the Phoenix Suns at this juncture.
I think Seattle feels things swinging their way. Kevin Johnson sitting down with an injury, and the crowd is excited, and the Sonics are once again playing very well.
And Frank Johnson just committed his 4th foul.
Seattle has taken a 3-point lead, and we're going to show you the respect that Phoenix has for Sam Perkins' 3-point shooting. We're going to stop it right here. Here's Sam Perkins, a 3-point shooter. He's a left-hander, so you must go at his left hand. Oliver Miller does not. And if we stop it right there, he's going to take it right to the basket with his left hand and the score. So you must attack the guy's strong hand and make him go to his weakness.
Well, the big story is Kevin Johnson is back. He is back into the lineup. Now, he went out and it was tied 65 all. And the Suns desperately hoping that he can continue to negotiate out on the feet as Payton left him easily there and got away from it.
Kevin Johnson ran into his own man. Charles Barkley got in his way. You go underneath the screen on Payton. When he did, he ran right into Barkley.
Kevin is obviously limping as he was dribbling the ball. 71-66 Seattle. Or they double him, don't they? Barkley splits it well, though, and Miller then is fouled. Good job by Barkley splitting that double team.
And Seattle is swarming. You just feel their intensity starting to rise as they've taken a 5-point lead.
4th foul on Derek McKee.
Stepping through the double team, Barkley finds the open man, Miller, and he sees 3 white jerseys. No easy baskets in this game. Now, Oliver Miller has not shot free throws well. In the playoffs, he's at about 50-something percent, 53%. So every free throw becomes critical in a game like this, especially when you're on the road and there's not going to be any layups.
Well, the Suns, if they had hit their free throws Wednesday night, would not find themselves in such dire circumstances at 1-1.
Oliver Miller has not been a factor yet in this game. He got quick foul trouble. He had to sit down for a long stretch of time. And in that first period, he only played 6 minutes, had 2 points and 1 rebound.
I tell you, Payton's going to test Kevin Johnson right away. He did on that last time down the floor, and he got away from him quickly there. Perkins outside. Barkley tries to follow inside. Kemp, and he may have overpassed the ball there.
He did. That was being too unselfish. You got to shoot that ball. But again, Gary, every time down the floor, Seattle's getting multiple shot opportunities. Phoenix is not rebounding. Paul Westphal might have to think about going with West and Miller on the floor at the same time with Barkley.
Barkley sees the double team and gets it to Sabonis very well.
He might have to counter with a big lineup, Gary. I saw him do that in Chicago early in the season. Move Barkley over to the small forward, go with West and Miller.
They got it too deep to Perkins. You can't stop him when you get it that low.
And then again, he let him spin back to that left hand. What happens is you start blocking a lot of shots and you say, you know what, I'm just going to lay behind the guy, let him catch it. I'm going to block everything. You're not going to do that in this league. Guys are going to adjust.
And especially a veteran like Sam Perkins. And now Dick Pavetta has stopped everything. Illegal defense against Seattle. That's the first time they're warning Mark West coming in. Now maybe they'll go to this big lineup you're talking about.
I think he's going to come in for Oliver Miller at this point in time.
Yep, that's who it's going to be.
Miller allowing Sam Perkins again the low post position. I'm sure Paul Westphal is going to talk to him about it, but Phoenix might have to go to that big lineup, and it'll also free up maybe some three-point shooting and some offensive rebounding. Phoenix has not been able to get any three-point shots tonight.
Well, they're not getting the offensive rebounds. You know, Barkley didn't have any offensive rebounds in Game 2. 0. Here is Marley forcing it up. No whistle, the basket counts. Dan Marley did not score in that first half. He's 1 of 5 from the field in this ball game. Peyton still testing Kevin Johnson to see how bad that leg is.
KJ looks like he's moving better now. They're going to run him through a lot of screens, though.
7 seconds on the shot clock. Kept baseline. Ball deflected. Marley comes up with it. You can see why Marley was on the second team NBA All-Defensive Club.
Sean Kemp's trying to do too much with his passing, getting himself in trouble.
Suns have settled in a little bit now after the scare with Kevin Johnson going down.
Suns are losing their spacing on the floor right now. They need to
4
space
seconds.
the floor.
3 seconds. Marley with 2. Tough shot. Rebound by Perkins. I don't think West was aware of the shot clock there. Took a lot of time kicking that ball out. Inside 4 minutes to go in the third. 2-point lead by Seattle. Pierce driving, and Ed T. Rush calls a blocking foul. McMillan and Cage and Eddie Johnson will come in, and that will be a foul of number 4 against Dan Marley.
See, this really hurts because Danny Ainge really struggles against Ricky Pierce. Marley sits down, so if Ainge plays Pierce, they're going to go to Ricky Pierce. They're going to run him off a lot of curls on the baseline. They'll try to run a lot of screens. So watch that matchup now. We have 3:47. Look to see if Ricky Pierce tries to take over the last part of this third quarter.
Kemp sits down. Peyton sits down. 3 changes for Seattle, and as mentioned, Ainge coming in for Marley. So McKee and Marley each have 4 fouls.
See, I think that's a real good substitution for Sean Kemp right now. He plays with such energy and such excitement. Sometimes I think he gets caught up in his own skill. And he got himself in trouble with a couple passes. You can never fault his effort, but you calm him down a little bit and bring him back into the game. I think that was a very good substitution by George Karl.
Ricky Pierce, so deadly at the free throw line. He has 20 points in the game. 4-point lead now for Seattle.
This is not a good shooting team for Phoenix on the floor right now. Sabalas instead of Dumas. He'll try to drive everything, which he does.
Boy, he does that well. He just snakes his way inside. Didn't look like he had any room on the baseline. Sabalas now with 12 points in the game. He's been in double figures all 3 games against Seattle. Pierce open outside. Cage, who does so well inside of the paint with a rebound.
See, without Marley, they're going to go to Ricky Pierce. I'm telling you, Coach, mark it down.
Yep. Why not?
They have no one else that can guard him on this team. Sabalas can't play him. Neither can Danny Ainge, nor can Dumas. So with Marley having 4 fouls, that is critical.
Baseline, Kevin Johnson is fouled. That's the reason that Paul Westphal said so many times, I can't afford to take Marley out of the lineup. In 40 games, he played 45 minutes this year in the regular season. We mentioned he's missed only 3 minutes in the first 2 games. That foul was on Perkins, his 4th, so they have 2 men with 4 now, McKee and Perkins.
Kevin Johnson's got his stroke a little bit now at the free throw line. He's now 9 for 11 in this ball game from the line.
His leg's still obviously bothering him. You wonder if it'll tighten up.
I think he got kicked in the thigh. Normally what happens, if you can keep yourself loose, you'll be able to get through tonight. When you'll feel it is tomorrow.
And of course, game 4, which comes up Sunday night, he retreated back. He was carrying that leg, wasn't it?
Yeah, he's not his normal self right now, that's for sure.
And now Nate McMillan will test him with 12 seconds on the shot clock. Eddie Johnson, who was 0 for 2 in the first half, Sabalas with a steal. Cedric comes up with it to Danny Ainge.
Boy, Eddie Johnson's really struggling right now. Cannot get his shot to go. Had a couple turnovers.
Kevin Johnson ducks in, pass to West. West couldn't retrieve in time to get it out. Blocked inside. He surprised Mark with that one.
Oh, what a great job by Barkley.
Tremendous charge. There's no whistle. He's down again. Barkley with the block at the other end. Sabalas misses the easy one. And we go the other way, and Sabalas is
I think he just hurt his foot. This is wild. This is wild.
West with the rebound, and Kevin Johnson is like a punch-struck fighter right now. Look at him. He took a real shot on the last trip. Look at this.
KJ steps in to take the foul, does not get it, and a great block shot by Barkley.
It is YMC Truck scoreboard. You know, only 4 teams in history in a best-of-7 series have come back 0-2. Can the Bulls do it?
Well, you're trying to remind me the last team to do that was Portland against the 76ers when I played, Gary. I know what you're trying to do to me here, but Chicago can't do it if they continue to get out-rebounded 16 rebounds, and if Michael continues to shoot 37%. I expect the home floor to change that, and I think you're going to see it 2-2 going back to New York next week.
Sean Kemp, who has played full tilt. 20 offensive rebounds by the Sonics. Now, they averaged 16 in the playoffs. They had 17 on Wednesday night, and one of the reasons is this guy is relentless.
Yes, he is. He's got such energy and, strength around that basket. I don't even think he knows what he himself is going to do when he gets in the air sometimes.
Nate McMillan hits a free throw. That foul when we took the break was on Kevin Johnson, his third. Kevin Johnson just got beat up all over the place. That ends up with a foul and into the crowd.
That's normally what happens. You get back on your heels and it seems like you're taking all the blows. And again, I think a lot of it's because KJ is having a difficult time moving.
Millen gets 1 of 2. Barkley with the rebound.
But you know what? There's no sympathy on Seattle. They're going to keep going right at him. This is the playoff.
They'll go to the juggler, right? Here is West inside, and he moves inside. He's fouled. So Cage commits a foul. Perkins with 4, trying to lay off a little bit as he ducked inside. So Cage with 2. Now West, who shot better in the playoffs than he did in the regular season at the free throw line, shooting 63% as opposed to his regular season of 52.
Well, you can see Seattle's not going to give you any easy scores, so now you're going to have to make your free throws. This is going to be really critical for the Suns, and will they start thinking about the 15 that they missed in Game 2 when they got to the line 41 times and only converted on 26 of them.
So West on the scoreboard after going scoreless in Game 2. 1 of 2, and it's a 78-75 lead as we have 2 minutes left here in the third.
So they're going to go to Ricky Pierce again, screen roll. He's going to be the guy to look to make something happen in this half-court set.
Eddie Johnson still looking for his shot. It's not there. Tries to follow. Good effort by Eddie as McMillan has a strip by Danny Ainge. You know, Barkley is scoreless this quarter. It's amazing the Suns have stayed as close as they have without this guy scoring.
He hasn't taken many shots, and everything has been on the perimeter, so they've done a good job. But again, the guy around the basket, Mr. Opportunity, Sabalos, snaking along that baseline with a reverse layup. Back to a 1-point game.
Sabalos and Dumas playing that small forward by committee and doing it very well. Here's Cage coming up with a rebound to Price, 24 seconds. Pierce, 3 men on him. Rebound Barkley. Out it comes to Sabalos. Almost didn't see it. To West. And West is fouled. Now Mark West keeps taking it to the hole, and he's going to go to the line again.
I think they're surprising him. They normally don't throw Mark West the ball. He's gotten it about 3 times the last 4 possessions.
That's a 5th foul on Perkins, and he'll have to sit down. So West will be there again at the line. I think what's happened is the Suns now realizing that they are a little beaten up are going any way they can right now, and West is part of that break down the floor.
What they have to do right now is start resting some guys. KJ's going to sit down. Marley's got some nice rest because he has 4 fouls, and they're going to have to position themselves to be in the game at the 6-7 minute mark so that they can finish this game strong. We know Seattle's going to continue to come at you, and you must be aggressive, Gary. You cannot back off and start shooting outside jumpers. You've got to keep taking it to the hole.
I think Kevin's having some problem with his eye now. Looks like he's been hit in every part of his body, I think. Mark West, 1 of 2 again. John Kemp back in the lineup now. Kemp, Cage, McMillan, Payton, and Eddie Johnson for George Karl. 48 seconds left in the quarter. Baseline to Cage, who slices in. Eddie Johnson, boy, it's just not there for Eddie.
Oh, Eddie pulled a string shot, an air ball on that one.
The shot clock expired, and Eddie Johnson's 0 for 5 tonight.
Yeah, and he's really struggling with his shot. And I know that George Karl wants to let him play through this, but at the same time, he cannot let this game slip away from him.
And Marley will come back into the lineup and get his 3-point shooting in as we have 33.2 seconds left in the quarter.
Will they go for a quick 2-for-1? If so, they have to get the shot up in about 5 seconds. give themselves about a 4-second differential.
McKee comes in. He's playing with 4 fouls, as is Marlin.
Looks like they're going to take their time to get one good shot.
Johnson kicks it out to Tom Chambers. Chambers off the glass, and so Chambers, who is not shooting well in this series, has contributed 8 points in this game.
Well, he's 2 for 2 from the field and 4 for 4 from the line.
That one was almost thrown away. Sabalas bailed him out with a tip into the crowd. 11.2 seconds left in the quarter.
Well, George Karl's saying somebody's going to have to come back and help us. They were getting double teamed in the backcourt. Everyone had run down the floor.
I tell you, the Suns have really shown some intestinal fortitude in this quarter. Everything looked like you could get away from it.
They have battled back.
Yes, sir, leading by 2. McMillan gets off a hurried shot. The follow tip, is it going to count? It will. And we're even at 80. Derek McKee with a follow at the buzzer. Let's look at it as we come to the final seconds of the quarter.
You're going to see McKee just slap the ball at the basket right there, and you see it's a good goal.
12 minutes to go. Game 3 is all even. Seattle had led by 5, but it's all tied at 80. Let's go back to the final play of the quarter.
Well, Seattle 1 for 7 from the three-point line. You're going to see the shot taken, and it misses, and we stop it right there. Watch right here, the red light, and you're going to see the ball go in the basket, and boom, the red light come on. That's a good goal. 24 offensive rebounds now for the Sonics. Only 22 defense. They're out-rebounding Phoenix 46-28. They're up 18 on the boards. So with their 15 turnovers, Seattle only 7 for Phoenix, but that has not been the difference. The difference is right now the rebounding.
The Suns have not hit a three-point shot either. They're 0 for 6, trying to hit one here. Well, that stopped that little dry spell as Danny Ainge way outside.
Both teams now 1 for 7 from the three-point line. Remember now, Phoenix #1 in attempts, #1 in makes at the three-point line, but in the playoffs, that has not been a major weapon for them.
Well, what was it George Karl said? We don't fear the three-point shot as much. We feel like they're more of a penetration-type team now. Good ball movement. 3 seconds on the shot clock. McMillan over the back. It'll be the Suns basketball.
See, I don't think they like to live on the outside there with McMillan shooting three-point shots. You've got McKee inside. You've got Kemp being played by Chambers. You've got to exploit that matchup rather than shoot the outside shot.
Plus, McMillan's been struggling. He was 3 of 17 shooting coming into this third game of the series. 3-point lead on the strength of that three-point shot by Danny Ainge. Frank Johnson puts up a very unusual attempt and got it. Looked like it's afterthought.
I think it was. He did not want to take the shot. He had nothing else to do but hoist it up there, and he got the nice roll.
Suns by 5.
Got to get it to Kemp inside against Chambers. That's the matchup right now.
Eddie Johnson 0 for 6. Barkley with a rebound. And Eddie Johnson, wanting desperately to play well against his former teammates, has gotten thus far the goose egg tonight. Here's Chambers from outside. The veteran doesn't get it. McMillan with a rebound.
Boy, that would have been a 7-point lead. I think Seattle would have had to take a timeout. Again, you got to get the ball to Kemp. Right now, he's got the mismatch. Standing right there at the foul line. Get him the ball.
And he's got a charge there. Sean Kemp taking it up the middle. That's 4 on him.
You got to shoot the foul line jump shot. He tried to take everything in and dunk it, and guys are going to step in on him. He caught the ball at 15 feet. There was not anyone within 5 feet. Watch this now. He takes it right to Barkley, and Sean Kemp has just got to pull up and take that little medium-range jump shot, something he's not comfortable with at this point in his career.
He waited a long time to get the ball and then tried to force something.
Well, they get down to the 7 here. I think you're going to have to see some changes in your lineup. Look to see maybe Ricky Pierce back in for Eddie Johnson.
Boy, did Chambers and Kemp collide out there. Barkley tries one. It's just not there. The outside shot for Charles Barkley. And he's been effective when he takes it inside. They leave Payton wide open. Rebound Ainge. Gary Payton has not been shooting very well. Usually shoots much better here in the Coliseum. Frank Johnson hit one earlier, comes back and hits another one.
Well, that's why they got Frankie Johnson. Remember we talked about he's a veteran player. He's fearless. He had 2 big jumpers. Ainge with a 3. 7 quick points here to start the quarter, and the Suns have pushed it to a 7-point lead.
The Suns are leading by 7, but as we look here at the Dutch boy in the paint, you wonder how when you look at those rebounds.
Well, 48-30, 18 rebounds and 14 on the offensive boards. The Sonics are not converting them, but Sabalas and Dumas have combined for 25 points, so they lead the small forwards from Seattle with only 19. So that's a 6-point differential. We have a 7-point game, and Charles Barkley has not scored in the entire second half, 0 for 3.
6 of 17 for the game, and again, you wonder about his shot selection.
Well, I think what happens is when Charles gets a little tired, he has a tendency to hold the ball, the clock winds down, and he ends up shooting the outside shot. So let's see if maybe he can gather himself and get something going to the basket. It's going to be important. You're not going to win this game shooting perimeter jumpers.
Barkley not scoring, but doing some other things.
Yeah, he's got 10 rebounds, a nice steal that time. So Marley spotting up for 3 if they find him on the other side of the floor.
Chambers trying to go into double figures, has it stripped. Eddie Johnson's got it. Ricky Pierce will come in at the first break of the ball game now for Seattle. 9 minutes to go. Johnson baseline, and they knock it out of bounds. Seattle does. It'll be Phoenix's basketball. Johnson trying to make something happen on the baseline.
Yeah, he really right now is struggling so badly. They're trying to run some plays for him, and you see it now. The turnovers are +9 for Phoenix, so a little bit of that edge on the boards is wiped away with that.
And the Suns bench has outscored Seattle's bench 37-10. Seattle prides himself in their depth. Barkley fakes him up in the air, doesn't get it again. He's 6 of 18. Chambers with an opportunity. Marley horses it up, goes.
Well, that was a great play, though, by Frankie Johnson. He was the one that tipped the ball loose to give him the extra effort. So Frankie Johnson is playing a tremendous role here tonight for Phoenix. KJ's sitting down, and they have a 9-point lead. Who would ever thought that they would have been able to do that without KJ?
And the Sonics have not scored in this quarter as Kemp misses. Barkley with another defensive board. It was 80 all after 3. It's 89-80. As now Eddie Johnson commits a foul. He will leave. Perkins will come in. He'll be playing with 5 fouls.
Sonics, number 14, Sam Perkins, replacing Eddie Johnson.
9-0 run here in the fourth quarter.
It all started with a 3 by Danny Ainge and 2 quick baskets by Frank Johnson.
7 seconds on the shot clock. Johnson has hit 2, now 3 in a row.
Are you kidding me, Frank Johnson? You have just made your paycheck for this year if you win this game for this team tonight.
You know, he was cut at the start of the year. Then Kevin Johnson got hurt. They re-signed him. And where would they be without this guy?
Well, they had to talk him into coming back and playing because they also had Nigel Knight, who was here. He was going to be their 3rd point guard.
Number 34, Charles Barkley.
Barkley committed the foul.
Frankie Johnson having a magnificent fourth quarter, just looking Gary Payton away and pulling up and shooting the 3.
So he's hit 3 in a row, 2 twos, and now Barkley's picked up another foul in a hurry. That's his 3rd. 2 back-to-back fouls. With now 7:33 left in the game.
You know that Seattle's going to make a run, though. And one of the things that Phoenix has done all season long with the lead is they have relaxed. And it cost them the other night. They have to dig in and finish this last 7.5. No mental lapses tonight on the road.
And Pierce finally gets Seattle on the scoreboard. That's their first points of the quarter. It's a 2.
4 minutes and 40 seconds. They're outscored 12-0 in that time.
Frank Johnson has done yeoman work in the place of the shaken-up Kevin Johnson. Chambers from the corner. And Tom Chambers, who's been missing those shots, now starting to connect.
Well, he had 5 great years in Seattle here where he averaged 20 points a game every season.
There's Perkins.
Can't fall asleep on Perkins. Remember, he's the 3-point shooter. He had 2 of those in the last minute and a half of game 2.
The 3-pointer makes it 94-85.
Gary, Seattle's going to make a run. I'm telling you, Phoenix is going to have to execute.
Chambers, tough shot, doesn't get it. Kemp with the board. 12 rebounds for Sean Kemp. So they come out on Perkins this time. You just for a moment give him an opening, he'll drill it. Ricky Pierce behind the screen. That's a two, and Pierce now has hit 2 in a row. And here's that run you're talking about. And Paul Westphal senses it and calls a timeout. 6:20 left to go.
Suns lead by 7. Ricky Pierce has hit 2 shots in a row. Let me show you this now. Charles Barkley is playing against Sean Kemp. Now they're going to go screen roll. And Sean Kemp is going to set the pick. And Ricky Pierce is going to drive his man off the pick. And we're going to stop it right there. Look at this. Nobody showing up. Here's Charles Barkley. He's got to be up with a hand in the face. That's what I talk about. You cannot have mental lapses defensively. Ricky Pierce has gotten some rest, and he's going to come out shooting in this last 6:20.
You were saying the other day that you think sometimes Barkley relaxes when the team gets the lead.
I think he does. I think he gets a little bit bored, and I think he has to be very careful because he's in a building right now that a team's getting ready to make a run at you, and they need his emotion. KJ probably is through for the night, so they need his emotion to carry them right now.
Barkley 0 for 4 in this half. He has not scored in this half. A knee in the thigh has been the diagnosis on Kevin Johnson, and Joe Prosky, the trainer, does not want him to return, and that will be off of, well, we got a debate. It's going to be off of Seattle.
See, Charles has got to be really careful. He's upset with that call. There's 7 seconds on the shot clock. Phoenix must get themselves regrouped here. The ball's going to go off the leg, out of bounds, off Gary Payton. It'll be Phoenix ball.
Ainge with a 3. Rebound cleared by Ricky Pierce.
No one's down here. McKee's all alone underneath the basket.
They didn't see him. And Chambers tries to recover, but not in time. It's a 5-point game.
No one rotated back. Danny Ainge took the shot. Frankie Johnson was buried in the corner.
Tough pass. Barkley can't handle it. Kemp with a good defense. Seattle on a 7-0 run. It took him forever to get a point in the 4th quarter, but now they're moving.
Now Ricky Pierce got rest, so he's going to be strong enough to finish this quarter. Look for them to try to run 2 or 3 screens for him or go to Perkins against Chambers in the post.
Perkins backing in on Chambers, and Chambers gets a foul. Paul Westphal wanted a traveling call. That'll be the 3rd on Chambers. You know, the question I have, Doug, is when does your superstar, Charles Barkley, start to get it going now?
Well, Charles has got to get himself active here. Gary, on this play right here, it's a bad angle to feed the post. They're perpendicular, they're parallel right there. You've got to be on a 45-degree angle. So Marley's got to bring that ball over on the dribble and drop it in. KJ is back in the game. Now, Frankie Johnson was playing very well.
Yeah, and we were just told a moment ago they didn't want to bring him back, but desperation does bring about certain things.
You know what, if you're up 2-0 right now, you might not bring him back. But that game the other night forces you, as you said, to do desperate things. Now, Oliver Miller is in the game, and he's in there for defensive purposes. Chamber is out. So Miller must get up on Perkins and respect him and not let him catch the ball so deep in the post.
Perkins cuts it to 3.
Well, you could just sense the run from Seattle coming. That's a 9-0 run now.
You called it, Coach Collins, a 9-0 run, and that came after all of that long dry spell.
Boy, Gary Payton just swarming KJ.
6 seconds on the shot clock. With 3, that ball was tipped by who? By Seattle. There's 1 second on the shot clock.
Kevin Johnson, they made it so hard for him. It took him 18 seconds to get to the play they want. Only 1 second. They've got to throw it in and shoot it quickly.
Marley got it underway, but the shot clock expires. Good defense by the Sonics.
It's a game of surges, and you heard QB Brown at halftime talk about this. Seattle was a team of spurts, where you're seeing one of their patented spurts right now. Phoenix has got to get some stops defensively.
And we're going to have a foul on Ainge trying to draw a foul from Ricky Pierce.
That's 14 fouls, Gary. So from here on in, it'll be in the penalty.
On the other hand, Seattle has only one team foul.
Be very aggressive. There's the pull down by Ainge. That's the same maneuver he pulled on Kemp in the first half and was not spotted.
You talked about the surges of Seattle. You compound that with the fact that Phoenix has had these valleys all year long.
Well, it's the Valley of the Sun, but they don't want that kind of valley, the kind they're having right now.
9 seconds on the shot clock. Kevin trying to stay with Ricky Pierce, who has 26 points. Doesn't get the bounce. Follow tip inside. Over the back was Derek McKee, I believe. And if that is the case, that's his fifth.
That was a great defensive sequence, though, by Kevin Johnson. He stayed right with Ricky Pierce and would not give him any room. But the importance is that Seattle only has 2 team fouls, so they can be very aggressive going to the boards. Watch Ricky Pierce now trying to back in KJ. Gives him a little headbutt there to try to get him off. Marley gives a little help. And in the strong inside position by Barkley. But Barkley's got to show up here offensively. He's got to find a way to score. Whether they isolate him at the top or do something, he has got to get a score.
Run a play for him. Do something, you would think.
Well, they're going to double team him if he catches it in the post. Outside, they'll be able to isolate him, maybe drive.
Here's Ainge popping out wide open. The veteran Ainge, who has 2 championship rings with the Boston Celtics, hitting a big basket. 4 minutes. Boy, Ainge really bouncing off of McKee inside. Got a mismatch. 6'10 against 6'5, and McKee takes advantage.
Gary, they're running a little set where they're running a back screen. Ricky Pierce is back screening. They're getting a switch. Phoenix cannot switch that play because then it gives McKee low post position.
And the Suns ask for a 20-second timeout.
All right, Gary, look at this now. They're running a back screen. Pierce stepping up and back screening, and McKee going right to the post. And you've got now McKee being played by Danny Ainge, so they're going to go to that inside. So a big lineup on the front line right now. Ainge has to play McKee because Marley is matched up against Pierce, so they're going to have to watch that matchup. Let's see what Phoenix does or any adjustments if they go back and double team.
That, by the way, is only the second team foul against Seattle, as you mentioned. Phoenix already has no fouls to give. The bench scoring continues to mount for the Suns. They have an advantage of 44-10. Johnson, Ainge, Marley, Barkley, and Oliver Miller for Paul Westphal.
They'll run the same play again. Look for Barkley to try to go down and screen for Danny Ainge to pop him up off a screen for a jump shot. So you have McKee now playing Kevin Johnson, just trying to square him up and make him take that jump shot.
Barkley with a big offensive board. They have a fresh 24. That was intended for Barkley. Broken up out of bounds. It'll be Phoenix's basketball. 18 seconds on the clock.
Miller's got to make the simple play. No time now for the no-look behind the back pass. You got to make the simple play.
Ten seconds on the shot clock. Marley with 7. Ainge with 5. Pass to Miller with 3. He is fouled. Good penetration move that time by Danny Ainge.
Remember, George Karl said, I don't fear their three-point shooting as much as I do their penetration. And what you've seen right now is Danny Ainge gets a mismatch. He gets Perkins. He drives it. And as they come over to give help, Oliver Miller goes to the line. Remember now, 53% free throw shooter here in the playoffs.
Has a 5th foul on Kemp, by the way. And Miller coaxing that one in. 97-93, 3:01 left. Miller from the stripe is 2 of 3. Doesn't get it. Rebound by Perkins. So Perkins playing with 5 fouls. Kemp playing with 5 fouls. And also McKee playing with 5 fouls.
There's McKee in the post. Now they're double teaming. Miller comes over and double teams to force him to give up his post position.
And there's a foul on Danny Ainge.
That's the importance of staying out of the fouls. Now Danny Ainge fouls a 90% free throw shooter. The clock stops and you figure you're going to give them 2 points.
And Ainge may be a little tired. 2:46 left to go. The Suns lead it.
87-93, and here's the game reset. The Suns with 3 full timeouts remaining. Seattle with 2 and a 20, and the Sonics also have a foul to give. And speaking of fouls, let's catch you up on the foul difficulty. Perkins, Kemp, McKee with 5, Marley and Frank Johnson with 4 each. Danny Ainge came over here to you and he said, stupid foul.
Say, Danny, I already said that, but not in those words. If I would have said that, he would have been all over me.
Well, here's the guy you don't want at the line if you're Phoenix. Mr. Automatic. Got very quiet as he makes it 97-94.
This would be incredible if Phoenix could hold off and win this game with Charles Barkley going scoreless in the second half.
Here's the 6 of 6 in this game from the line. 7 of 7. 2-point game.
Remember, the Sonics have a foul to give. They can be very aggressive.
Will this be the time Barkley gets on the scoreboard? 5 seconds, missed the shot.
Is he 6 for 20 in the game now?
0 for 5 this half. 6 for 19, Doug.
McKee in the post. Got a double team him. That's going to free up someone.
Payton maybe had that shot partially deflected as Barkley has the defensive board.
Gary Payton does not want to shoot the outside shot, so KJ is going to be the doubler. Payton is going to be the guy that's going to have the shots.
You see the time. We're inside 2 minutes to go in game 3. Somebody's going to take a 2-1 lead in this series. Kevin Johnson fouled by Payton. Gary Payton had 3 fouls, so that'll be his 4th. He picked up those 3 early and has avoided fouls since that time.
Gary Payton is just not comfortable shooting the jumper, so they're going in the post to McKee, and KJ is going back to double. The ball came out. He had the open shot, put it on the floor just in time for the defense to recover and either get a piece of it or force him to take a tougher shot.
See Kevin's numbers from the line.
Well, we said for them to have a chance to win tonight, he's going to have to put up the kind of numbers that he has had in the first 2 series. In the first 2 series, he was averaging about 20 and 10. That's 20 points tonight.
Yep.
And 9 assists, so right on his average in the first 2 series.
Boy, you talk about right on. 20.8 and 9-1. That's exactly right, Doug. Second one not there. Barkley with a big rebound.
That's his first field goal. He's now 7 for 20 and gives them a 5-point lead. Minute 44 now to go.
That was huge. And you want your go-to guy, your MVP in the NBA, to make a huge play. He just did and strips the ball, but they got him for the foul. He fouls McKee. That'll be his 4th. You wondered when Barkley might make a difference. Let's look at this difference he just made.
Let's see how he gets inside. He just quickly gets inside. Kemp, who relaxes and allows Barkley that position. You've got to step through the guy and punish him, push him out of the lane. I guess that's easy for me to say with Barkley at 6'5 and a half, about 260 pounds. But he just used his leverage and got great position.
Ricky Pierce is going out of the game now. Nate McMillan comes in.
Offense, defense. Ricky Pierce will be ready to come back in offensively. We want McMillan in there for defense.
McKee now with a playoff high 18 points. Misses the second. Miller almost tipped it in. Brings it out to Ainge. You see the time remaining. The Suns with that 4-point lead.
Barkley's having a very difficult trying to post up. There's little spacing. Everything he's doing fading away.
5 seconds on the shot clock. Ainge is open. Doesn't get it. Rebound. Cleared by McKee.
Perkins for 3. Someone better get him, coach.
Miller's out on him. He collides with Perkins. There's no whistle. And then a ball is knocked out of bounds by Seattle. Perkins was run over by Oliver Miller after he released the shot from the far side.
He was spotting up for 3. I could see it all the way. And once he released the ball, I guess that any contact was incidental as he was driven into the Phoenix bench.
Wow.
Boy, had that gone, it's a 1-point game, and it becomes reminiscent of game 2 where he hit 2 again in the last minute and a half.
I tell you, Barkley hasn't scored a lot tonight, but he has 15 rebounds. 4-point game, less than a minute. Marley driving, dishes off to Miller. 4 seconds on the shot clock. Marley with a three. Big tray.
Wow. 37.9 gives them a 7-point lead.
I still remember Marley in the overtime shot he hit against L.A. to send it into overtime, I should say. He comes back and hits another big one here. Well, we're going to show you a monumental shot here in Game 3. Dan Marley.
Well, Phoenix has lived by the three all year long, so why not right now when it most counts? It gives them a 7-point lead. And you see the celebration. Dan Marley so happy.
And there was only 1 second on the shot clock when that went through.
Wow, that was a tremendous play. And this Phoenix team has showed a lot of grit tonight on the road. They got a lead, and Seattle came right back at them. And Charles Barkley has not had the kind of offensive night in the second half you'd like from him, but he got the big offensive rebound for the score, and he's been big on the boards.
Dana Barros is coming to the ball game for his quickness, taking Kevin Johnson inside, and Kevin commits a foul.
The one thing you don't want to do in that situation is commit the foul like that. The clock stops now. You've got 2 free throws. You can set up the press. You know, will Phoenix call time and move the basketball, or will they elect to go full court? You know that Seattle's going to come roaring out of them trying to get turnovers.
Barros, an excellent free throw shooter. They say that he misses. 33.6 seconds left. 103-96. The Suns, after losing at home and losing their home court advantage, has come in here to beat a team that had the 3rd best record in the NBA at home, the Seattle SuperSonics. They were 33-8 in the regular season and had won 5 straight playoff games here.
Gary, if you throw the ball in here, throw it into a good free throw shooter. They do in Ainge. Marley's not a good free throw shooter. You want him to give the ball up. Got to give the foul.
And they fouled Dan Marley, and committing the foul will be Nate McMillan. McMillan, that'll be his 3rd. Well, you get in desperate situations, and you have to have guys play like they're desperate people, and that's what the Suns have done here tonight.
Gary, you know, I think people have this misconception that you lose a home game, the series is over. I mean, when you get to the level these two teams have won on the road, both of them. This is no fluke when you go on the road and win. You're supposed to have the ability, especially like Phoenix has won the most games in the NBA on the season all along on the road. They won 2 big games in LA. They won 1 in San Antonio. It looks like they're going to win 1 here tonight. This is how you win championships. You can't just expect to say, I'm going to win all my games at home.
Well, they'll have their 4th road win in the playoffs. And remember, they were 0-2 at home and went into LA and won 2. They won 1 in San Antonio, and now they're going to apparently capture another one here. 23.2 seconds remaining. 104-97 Phoenix. 104-97, and Doug, you were just making a good point. The Bulls have been in this kind of position before where they've lost the home court advantage and still pulled it out.
Well, last year they win the championship. They lose Game 1 to New York and go on to win that series. They lose Game 2 to Cleveland and the home court. They go on and win that series. They lose Game 2 to Portland. They go to Portland and win 2 games. So, you know, if you're the championship caliber team, when you get to this level, the home court only means, I think, something in the 7th game. Everything is basically even. So, nor does this mean that Seattle has lost this series if they go on to lose this game tonight. This just means Phoenix has gone up 2-1.
Here's quite a reaction. All this coming, of course, after that Marley shot from the corner, and Frankie Johnson did a remarkable job coming in, hitting 3 straight shots, 2 twos and a 3, while they had to rest Kevin Johnson with injury. Clock and the game clock almost identical. There's Perkins having a shot blocked by Oliver Miller. Miller's learned how to get out on him right now. Here's Danny Ainge coming up with it, and the Suns are going to head to Game 4, which is here Sunday at 12:30 with a 2-game-to-1 lead in this best-of-7 series. And they did it when Charles Barkley scored only 16 points, 2 in the second half.
And a big 2 off the free throw. Oliver Miller makes the first one to give him a 3-point lead. Barkley gets the rebound, lays it in. It's a 5-point lead. And Charles Barkley did an excellent job on the board, so he did some great things even though he did not score tonight for this team.
He had 16 rebounds to back up what you're saying. As the Sonics out-rebounded the Suns 55-38. Well, we'll kind of regroup here, but right now, let's go to Atlanta for Ernie Johnson and Hubie Brown.
They scored 17 points.
Exactly. They did score 17 points in the fourth period. Did the Seattle SuperSonics. Hubie Brown right on top of the thing. I'm Ernie Johnson. And let's talk about this thing. You know, we talked about the streaks the Sonics are apt to put together when the fourth quarter comes around, but Phoenix kind of beat them to the punch tonight, Hubie.
Yeah, you have to like Frankie Johnson coming off the bench, giving him a real shot in the arm. A lot of confidence between he and Ainge. They shoot out to that 12-point lead. Now, you know that Seattle is going to come back. They play real well in their building. They do make an 11-2 run to get it back to 3, and then Phoenix plays big. But I think as you look at this, you have to say that Phoenix, the number 1 road team, one-loss-wise that we have in the league, they can do this. They have 5 all-star players on this team. This is a very talented basketball club.
Disappointing for George Karl and the guys to work so hard so that they could take the home court edge away and then lose it in the first game back in Seattle?
Yeah, I think so, except you know that you're playing an excellent basketball team. You do have the type of defense that can come back. You must do a better job on Kevin Johnson, 20 points and 10 assists. So the traps must be tougher and make it more difficult for him to get out of the traps.
You mentioned Kevin Johnson, and KJ is standing by back at Seattle Center Coliseum. Let's send it back to Gary Bender and Doug Collins.
Well, EJ, what a gritty performance by the Suns. 104-97. They take a lead of 2-1. And talking of gritty and determined and courageous, here's a guy with us, Kevin Johnson. Kevin, first, how are you feeling right now?
I'm pretty sore. It's one of those games that I got a bruised thigh, got hit in the eye a couple times, cut on my wrist. It was just a tough ball game, but we got it out and took things in control.
Well, you had 20 points, 9 assists. What you did tonight, as you watch here, you were penetrating again.
Where did you get kicked, Kevin? Who got you? Do you know right there?
Right there.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was Sean Kemp and Derek McKee. So that was one of my 2 turnovers, so I'm not counting that one.
That's right.
KJ,
let me ask you about that. Go ahead. How about the penetration?
I thought it was a real key for you tonight in terms of, I thought you were very passive in game 2 with the double teams. As they showed you a little false double teaming, you got rid of the ball. Tonight, you kept your dribble alive, you strung them out, and then you found open people and got in the middle. Was that what you were trying to do?
Well, I think looking at game 1, I wasn't super aggressive, but we won the ball game by a good margin. Game 2, I figured the same thing would work, but we didn't have the intensity on both ends of the court. So in game 3, I had my mind made up that I was going to be super aggressive on the offensive end like I've been pretty much throughout the playoffs, and I knew good things would happen. So when they double teamed, like you said, I kept my dribble. We allowed our offensive players to get all the way down on the baseline. So if they still want to double team, they had a long way to run, which allowed Cedric and some other guys to get some easy baskets. If not, if I could beat the press, I would get into the middle and maybe lay it up or kick it off.
Can you talk to us about Frankie Johnson a little bit, what he did for you guys tonight?
Oh, that was awesome. Awesome. I mean, Frank's been doing a great job all year long. He's been a valuable acquisition for us. And it's been a long time, it really has, since we've had some guys really step up and make some big plays. And Frank did that. Danny Ainge hit some big jumpers, and Marley hit a big 3 down the stretch, and Chuck just doing an unbelievable job on the boards.
Well, you know, in the regular season, you had 7 guys in double figures. It's down to 4 in the playoffs. Tonight, 7 guys in double figures. Your bench outscored them 45-11.
I think you're right. I mean, team balance and depth has been our strength all year long. But in the playoffs, we've been playing a lot of guys, but we haven't been getting the performances for some of the guys off the bench. And I think they took this as an extreme challenge because everybody talked about how good and how deep Seattle's bench was. So our bench has really stepped up.
Kevin, you lose game 2 at home. You come in here. This is a tough place to win. What was going through your mind from coming to Phoenix here to Seattle?
To be honest, I think that game 2 gave us a wake-up call, and I knew we'd play a great ball game. We almost won game 2 playing as poorly as we did, and with the lackluster performance that we had, we still almost won it. But then we realized that loss was the best thing for us at this particular juncture, because from here on out through the Western Conference Finals, you're going to see a very aggressive and determined Phoenix Suns team.
Well, you've been a good playoff team, and now you got the 2-1 lead. You got to get healthy now. You've got a short length of time to get ready for Sunday.
They'd have to cut it off. This is playoffs. I'm playing.
Okay, Kevin, thank you. And Kevin, to no surprise, is our Budweiser player of the game. 20 points, 9 assists, only 2 turnovers. And he said one of those turnovers should not have been accredited to him. Well, what a courageous performance by KJ and, of course, the Phoenix Suns as a team. Well, the final again, 104-97. And Doug, this wraps it up, our playoff coverage. And this was the intensity that you expect in the playoffs, like you've been seeing in the East.
Well, you know, Gary, this has been so much fun for us because I think our coverage this year, we've had some great games, and it's just been so much fun. And tonight to come out and watch these two teams, Phoenix knowing they had to break through to win on the road, and advantage, and Phoenix got it back tonight.
It's fun. Enjoyed it.
It was excellent.
So Doug Collins and I will be saying so long here from the Seattle Coliseum, where the Suns have taken 2-1 lead. We're going to take a break. We'll be back with Ernie and Hubie in the studio after we pause.
And welcome back to our Atlanta studio, Ernie Johnson and Hubie Brown. It's been a pleasure having you in here in the studio, off the road tonight. You know, it's been a month's worth of playoff stuff. What stands out for you?
Well, I think, Ernie, you look back, we had a preview show, and we said we thought that would be Chicago and New York in the East. New York struggled with Indiana. Charlotte gave them a major run. Charlotte upset Boston. You look out there in the West, and we said that it would probably be Phoenix and Seattle. But we start off the playoffs, 5-game series with L.A., dynamite series, dynamite with L.A. and Phoenix. And then you look at it and you say the Houston-Seattle, 7 games. Houston gets 2 good open looks for the last shot at regulation, the last shot in overtime. So it's been an exciting time for us, and we've had the opportunity to do 36 games in 30 days. And it's just, I know we've been on a lot of planes, but it's nice to be in the middle of the action.
It certainly is. And tonight it was 104-97 Phoenix over Seattle. Highlights of this game coming up next on Inside the NBA. Vince Cellini and Mike Glenn, your hosts. Also the latest on Michael Jordan. And we'll take a look at the guards in the 1993 draft. The next time we'll be with you NBA-wise is the draft on June 30th from the Palace of Auburn Hills at 7:30 Eastern. So we have reached the end of our NBA playoff coverage on TNT. As Hubie said, 36 games in all, 13 doubleheaders. NBC will take you the rest of the way. Got a lot of folks to thank, but don't have time to mention all of them. But we certainly do have time to recognize them and the jobs they do. And that's what we're going to do right now as we bid you a good night from Atlanta. For Hubie Brown and all of our staff, I'm Ernie Johnson. Hope you've enjoyed watching the games as much as we've enjoyed bringing them to you on TNT.
Morning for the win.
Smith, great penetration, came up short though. Michael Cage, the rebound. Eddie Johnson will try to beat the buzzer from midcourt. It is! He made it!
Armstrong hand checking stops, goes baseline.